One. Hi, this is Damien from AtHope, and I'm an axiological atheist, and I'm here with a guest. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us what kind of atheist you are?
My name's Mark Lee, and I'm a atheist, antitheist, atheist activist, secular humanist, just pretty much an atheist. Pretty active on Facebook, and that's it.
Right on.
I'm a strong atheist. I'm pretty I'm a 7 on the Dawkins scale, close to 7, getting there anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure about all the other little ones, but it's pretty much antitheist, atheist, secular humanist. Really, that's what I am.
Okay, since you brought up different terms, could you go ahead and tell us what those terms mean to you? When you said you're an atheist, what does that mean to you? When you said you're an anti-theist, what does that mean to you? And when you said you're a secular humanist, could you explain what that means to you?
Sure. It's funny because I actually don't like the word anti-theist because it sounds like I'm against people, but it's more about being against religious dogma and the system of religion, not so much the people. So I'm against a lot of the doctrines in religion. I think there's a lot of evil in them. But I'm not anti-theist as far as anti-people. Secular humanism is basically, I believe in people's human rights and, genders and sexuality, different things like that. So I'm not as active as I should be, but I do consider myself like I believe in humanity. Like I believe in human beings, their rights, and that we're like most people are good people. I don't believe the majority of the people in the world are evil. Like I believe the majority of the people in the world are actually good. There's a very few small percentage in the world that's really like bad, I guess in a sense. So I always support people I respect people's rights. And my thing against religion is I don't believe religion is supportive of human rights. I think they're against human rights. Like I think their intentions are well sometimes, but they don't. They tend to take human rights, people's rights away. So the other terms.
Well, you said atheist, and I was just saying, so you said the other two, and then what does atheist mean to you?
Atheist just means that I don't believe in any gods. I guess about agnostic atheists be like, I don't have knowledge of the fact that I don't have gods, but I just don't believe in gods, so I don't see any evidence for it. But I used to be a Christian, so I used to be a Seventh-day Adventist Christian, and I was studying to be a pastor, so it was like
So what inspired the wanting to be a pastor and studying religion? Was that a religious upbringing, or did you find it along the way? And if you did, why? What was the motivation?
It's funny because a part of me is almost ashamed of it because like a lot of people they feel and I agree with them. I think if kids were not indoctrinated with religion, they probably for the most part would be atheists. But in my case, I guess emotional need. I felt accepted by the kids in the church, and I was playing ball hockey with them. My 2 brothers became Adventists when I was like 15. They converted before I did. And then I saw what was going on in their lives. It seemed pretty positive, and so I gave it a shot. And for me, it was more of acceptance, though. I wanted to be more like not that I wasn't accepted in high school, but I didn't feel it really was my thing. Like it was more like I was always kind of a gentle, easygoing guy growing up, so the nice guy type. So it kind of fit with me. And once I got into the church and I became more of a youth leader, like I actually like. But most people, when they're raised in a religion, they don't really get involved as much. Where I was kind of an on-fire Christian. I was a born-again, the minister part's interesting because originally I wanted to be a counselor, and I was told by a member that psychology was of the devil. So I decided, well, what should I do? And then I prayed about it, and then it was like, well, pastors are counselors in a way, right? So I decided to go that route. Well, maybe that's what God wants for me. So when I went to theology, that's when I started doubting it. Because they were teaching me stuff in the school that I'd never heard before. It was like things that they didn't teach in church.
Like what do you remember particularly?
Like the first thing I learned was that alcohol or wine in the Bible is alcohol. Adventist church are against that. They it's just grape juice. Jesus turned the water into wine. It's grape juice. So now I'm learning what the real facts are. That was just a simple one. And then I did my own studying as well. I learned about the two creation stories in Genesis that contradict one another. And actually, I should bring up Richard Elliott Friedman and Marcus Ford. John Shelley Sprung were big influences on me as far as reading material, extra reading material. That's when I started learning about the different authors in the first 5 books of the Bible. And there were different authors that are all mingled together. There's 2 Noah's Ark stories that have different details. There's 2 Ten Commandments stories, 2 creation stories. So I was learning all these things, and it's funny because now I read the story, and it's obviously a myth. But at that time, I needed something extra to give me that, okay, this is definitely not a true story. It wasn't the talking steak. It should have been alone. That alone should have been like, okay, this is not a real story. But at that time, I was like, okay, the order of events are different. So I knew that one of the stories was either they were both false or one of them was true. It was like, no, it can't possibly be. And then when I read, things started making sense to me. It was like, wait a minute, these stories aren't even real. Like, why do I believe this stuff?
Right.
And I think at that time I was ready to give it up. Because when I converted to Seventh-day Adventist Christian, and 17 years old, and I left.
Okay, a second. When you say converted from what?
From I wasn't raised Christian, so I was like, I guess I would. I don't know if I was a full-blown atheist at that time, but I was a non-believer.
Okay.
I'd say. So I didn't really. I think I believed in God, but I didn't really follow God. So I don't know if that makes any sense. I wasn't religious. I didn't go to church or anything like that. So at that time I was. And my whole life changed. And actually, for people talk about how they accuse atheists of having a bad experience or that they're bad at God. For me, my experience wasn't a bad experience. It was like I honestly am an honest truth seeker, and I was confronted with reality. And I was like, this does not make any sense. I have to change now. I couldn't fake it. It meant so much to me. I couldn't fake it. I couldn't just say, oh, I'm just going to just go with it anyway. It didn't hurt that I didn't have a lot of family background involved. Like, I can imagine today, I post on Facebook stuff. I wonder if people do question their beliefs if they do check out some of my stuff, because I think they probably will if they're honest. And, they already got family going and stuff. So I can't, I'm sure there's people that maybe have doubts, they don't admit it. And it just works for them, so they roll with it. But for me, it was like I had, nothing was keeping me back. I wasn't married, no kids. Perfect, so. And it was hard. At first, it was hard. It was like a major divorce or something. Because I put my whole life into that, right? So now I was lost. I was like, what do I do now? I was in the mid-20s, and I don't know how to interact with the real world. Because most of the people I hung out with were Seventh-day Adventists, so now all of a sudden I'm in the real world and I got to adjust to that. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I have a similar experience too, because I was 36 before I ever became an atheist, and I had till 13 I was raised in a religious cult. So that's different than yours, but called the local church, and then what's that? It's called the local church with Witness Lee and Watchman Nee. It's anyways. They call it the local church because they believe if you give it a name, they'll call it say the church of something in British Columbia or something, or the church in California, or the church in because they think that to give any name or thing is to glorify the thing and not God. They're real, no holidays, no birthdays, kind of thing. Because anything that's too big of a thing is worshiping something other than God.
Wow, interesting. I never heard that before. I think it's interesting.
Yeah. So, anyways, but so to me, that's also why I don't really do much holidays. People's like, oh, why don't you celebrate? Well, now as an atheist, I wouldn't have any real desire to, but I was never really super big as a child, so it doesn't have that same feeling. Anyways, but
I know what you're saying. Well, kind of, yeah.
And I was going to be a drug and alcohol counselor. I had no intentions going to college, and I was a Christian at the time. and I wanted to help people, but I had no intentions of being an atheist. I never even had a friend that was an atheist. Never read an atheist book. In fact, I really didn't even know what an atheist meant.
I know, actually, when I was in Seventh-day Adventist church, atheism wasn't even the subject. Nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that now. Like, I assumed most people believe in God. I never really thought about what an atheist was.
I assumed that everyone believed in God, a God of some kind, of some way.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I know. When you're in that mindset, I thought, well, who doesn't believe in a God? I mean, it's just like...
Yeah, for sure, right?
Like, it was, the thought would have been, like, bizarre to me at the time. But once, I guess, the same thing with me. They made me take 2 classes on religion. And so... So the first class got me really thinking, because I didn't know anything. In fact, I was so oblivious, like you said, never thought to think at all. Obviously, I couldn't have probably listed 5 kinds of Christian. Forget 5 religions in the world at the time. But I took a class and we had to do 10 world religions, including Native American was one of them, like Native American religions. And faiths. Anyways, and so doing all this, it was like the eye-opening. I've never, because I had to do it every week. Like, you have to do like a report, and talk about, but not debating it, not discounting it, but explaining it.
Yeah, that's like you had to actually learn it.
Learn it, right? I had to learn it a little bit. So the learning it was like the shocker, because instead of, there's 2 ways in a sense to approach something. One is to approach it with a critical eye, where you're trying to rip it apart. And there's the other thing, like you said, are you trying to learn? Well, when you learn, and then I started seeing it, all of a sudden it came to me, there's a pattern. They all have the same, every single one of them. They all know the only kind of afterlife. It's there. They know it. Just them. Okay? They know the only way to get a favorable afterlife. Just them. Just their way. Every single religion. This is worldwide, I mean, practically. This is everybody. I started going, whoa! Because I started seeing these similar things. They all tell you how to behave in this life before the afterlife.
Yeah, exactly.
And only their morality, their ways, is the way. I mean, it's like a whole... I started realizing, wait a minute. And they're all wrong. Mine has all the same stuff. How do I know mine is right?
It's like all the spacecraft, like the spacecraft's coming to save you, right? We all have to conform, and it's like a robot. I don't know, it's weird. Now looking back on it, it's strange. It's like, how did I get involved in that in the first place? But I will say this though, with Advent. One thing I do respect about Adventists, and even Jehovah's Witness, is they don't believe in eternal hellfire. They believe that God will eternal annihilate you, put you out of existence. That's so much better. I don't agree with that either, but it's like a way better system. And I had a family member just recently who's going away from Adventism now, and he started to believe in eternal hell. And I'd never experienced that before, and that affected me. It was like, it made me look at him in a different way, and actually, it bothered me. I kind of wanted to convert him back to Adventism. It's like, I don't know, and then he's in a corrupt world of dollar. You heard him?
Yes, the charlatan.
Yeah. He's a sincere speaker, he's a good speaker, but he asked his congregation for money to buy him a new private jet. It's like, you can't take this guy seriously. Take this guy seriously.
He's a charlatan to me.
God wants you to be rich.
Yeah.
And it's like a perspective, the gap of between people who don't believe are going to hell and God wants them to be rich. It's just like selfishness, to be honest. I kind of view religion as selfish in a lot of ways now. I don't think it's intentionally selfish, but it is.
Well, I always before, when I was a Christian, would tell people they're going to hell or whatever. I never thought about it. Now, seeing people's glee, I can't wait till you burn. Really? Really? I mean, just think, if you really believe that, would you stand next to somebody while they're being pushed in a fire, screaming and burned alive? Would you really feel that you're the moral being? Seriously. Let's just say that, I mean, I mean, just like the capital punishment. I mean, even people that you believe should die, most people still are bothered because it's a person. And so the fact that they can say, I hope that you're tortured and that you suffer. You want my suffering? You really, and you feel that's a moral statement.
I don't believe any human being in the history of humanity deserves eternal punishment. Like, even Adolf Hitler. I mean, I like that. I think if God was real and like was fair, he would like punish us according to our word or what we did or how we were, and then that's it, right?
Well, and the God would punish himself for killing everybody on the whole planet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The biggest mass murderer.
My focus lately has been on the Adam and Eve story, and like, it's funny because whenever I post on Facebook, I always take the position that let's pretend the story is real. And there's always that one atheist that'll come on there and go, they're right. This is not relative because it's not a real story. And I'm like, yeah, you're correct, but I'm speaking to a way that theists can read it. Because if I tell a theist that it's just myth, they're going to look at me like weird. But if I show them how the story doesn't make sense even if it was real, because realistically, if Adam and Eve, if this whole thing was true, then if God had killed Adam and Eve right from the beginning, there would be no reason, there would be no hell. Jesus wouldn't have had to die on the cross, nothing. That would have been way better. That would have been a sacrifice. So whenever I tell Christians that, they still don't get it. But it's like, well, we wouldn't exist then. But it's like, but if there's an infinite God, surely you'd have infinite creations and infinite worlds before this one. Why would you need another one? Why would you need to like have like a set it up so it's like a system or like, sacrificing animals and like killing his own son? It makes no sense. Like, to me, it's like 0% chance of it. Unless God's evil and weird or a trickster, it's not possible it exists.
But you know that if a God was real and evil and a trickster, he wouldn't be invisible. He wouldn't be immaterial. He wouldn't be non-existent in reality. So the only a malevolent God would not hide himself. Why? If he wants terror, what better way than show yourself once in a while? And you could still be a trickster, show yourself once in a while, but not enough for anyone can ever be sure. I mean, that would scare the crap out of people. I mean, it does less to actually stay hidden if you wanted any malevolence. True malevolence.
I think it's like God can do whatever, like God's all powerful, can do whatever. He could reveal himself to the whole world in a way that would cause us to love him and trust him. But he doesn't, evidently he doesn't exist. That's my belief. I believe that, see, the whole thing is people are saved by belief and faith, and it's like, well, I know ways in which God can increase belief and faith in this world. People don't have to starve to death, it's like, how many people a day? When somebody prays a 1 minute prayer, like, thank God for food, like, within that minute, there's like 20 people die of starvation. Like, to me, that's just, it's arrogant, it's ignorant to thank God for food when people are at that very second are dying of starvation. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Well, to me, the whole story of Genesis is ridiculous to begin with. Just start because all you got to think is just start with the fact that it's a booby trap.
Exactly.
So the tree being there is not actually in our betterment. It is a booby trap because all you got to say is this. Let's just, like you said about a hypothetical, let's assume all that nonsense is real. But here's the thing. Let's assume that Adam and Eve did not sin. Would the tree go away? Yay, you passed. Wonderful. I love it. No, the tree would sit there as a booby trap until the first person that did break the law, that did eat it. That is an immoral design. It's an immoral design that's betting on our failure, knowing in a pre-hand way, right, that we would fail and that we do not have the constitution of lacking sin, right?
Yeah, exactly. You and I were born in sin. Right? Adam and Eve were the only ones. So like, how is it fair that we go in this world and then okay, if you fail a test, you're going to hell?
well, that was right, but and that's also the second thing, though. Like I said, so the first thing is it's an immoral design because it's a booby trap. It's not a one-time thing that Adam and Eve could have passed, and then the whole world is saved. No.
Eventually, somebody would have fell.
Eventually, someone would. So then the second thing is the immoral design or immoral character of a being is that once those people fail, to then blame all of humanity. Now, see, that's an immoral design by the immoral being. Because he didn't have to. True justice, even if they were guilty, would have just punished that. You don't punish the humanity. I mean, it's immoral. It lacks ethics to the extreme.
It reflects the story of Job in a way. Like it would be the story of Job in real life. Job is humanity, which is totally immoral.
Right.
Totally. My brother brings up the fact that God had to prove himself to the angels. Because Lucifer's not the devil, and neither is that serpent either. Like, I know about that stuff, but I always, when I'm talking to him, it's like, yeah, okay, I know he thinks it's Satan, so, but the angels are watching and stuff, so God's got to prove himself. It's like, what, we're pawns then, or what? We're just used for his purpose to make a point?
Yes. Well, some will tell you flat out, yes. In fact, this one person I said, do you feel it's right that God, condones rape and murder? And he goes, if God condones it, then it's not a sin. Like that, the mental wrangling that takes ethically to me is just complete delusion.
It shows the brainwashing I don't know if it's brainwashing, but the fear base, which is totally fear based.
But they always say it's love.
I feel bad for people like that in a sense. Like, I want to free them.
And I feel the same way. That's why I am so strong on and trying to help others learn, to provide information. Because I remember how I felt when I first came, into atheism. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know if I was an atheist. In fact, I thought an atheist meant that you hated God. And I said, well, I don't believe in a God to hate one, so I don't even know if I'm an atheist, because I really didn't know. I mean, so that's why I feel like the problem is, in religion, you're taught. There's schools you can go to, as you said. I mean, there's churches will sit there and indoctrinate the people, tell them stuff every week. There's really not a similar thing when it comes to atheism. There's not a encyclopedia per atheist or whatever, or some kind of a, like substantial thing. And so that's what I've been trying to do, is create, as much as I can that's relative to me, especially information to put it out there to inform people, atheists or theists or anybody.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I noticed you lots of good work there. It's awesome. Like, it's nice to know, like, there's people out there that really, are like putting an effort to like produce some, like, be creative. And that's what Ingenious Atheist is all about. Because the whole idea of me starting that group was.
Go ahead and explain before you go into talking about it. Go ahead and explain what you're talking about. Because other people I know, but other people may not know. So go ahead and say you have a group and it's what.
Oh yeah, Ingenious Atheist is a group on Facebook, and it's a group I started to promote, people to creatively come up with new ideas, new techniques, new ways of fighting religious dogma. So like, well, using the same old ideas, but like, adding to them or creating new ones, like looking at Bible stories in a different way. So, thing with it's been good so far, but I want it to be a little more active. It's been pretty quiet so far, so I've been quiet myself in that group last little bit, but that's where you've been pretty active. It's been good that you've been there to post and stuff.
Well, I'm inspired to help groups and pages that have less people. I have two groups with almost 4,000, and I have an atheist page. My biggest one has 46,000.
Yeah.
So, but I constantly try to share people, because I feel like we have to help each other. If we don't, who?
Yeah.
Who? I mean, the religious, that's one of the things supposedly they have that's better, you know, than they think an atheist is that they have all these groups and organizations to help each other. If you want to be tied in, the only thing you do is just show up. Almost, you know. So that's why I try to make sure that at least of what I do, I try to have the mentality that we rise by helping each other. And so I try to help people as much as I can and inspire others. Go do the same thing.
Yeah, like Aaron Robert responded to one of my posts one time in the group. And that meant so much to me because, like, I look up, like, he's one of the big voices in atheism now, and, like, you know, I look up to a guy like that. For him, the compliment by post, like, meant the world to me. He's like, oh, cool. But people like that should be supporting more. It's like, I always thought if I ever got to that level, maybe like not that I'm trying to, but I would want us to, like, just try to support everybody. Not like, just because that's an opportunity. If you have that big of a voice already, that's when you can really be helpful for people. Because people will notice that, oh yeah, so-and-so was giving that person support, so that person must have something going there. I don't know. I find most atheists are pretty good, like, at supporting one another, though. Like, I don't know. At least I find it. I don't know. There's different atheists out there, though. Like that's the nice thing about it, too. We're free. Like, we're not obligated. Nobody's, like, forcing anybody to, like, people joining Atheists, I don't, like, okay, you know, we're doing this for sure. I actually had a bigger vision of that group. I had some ideas in my head that I wanted to try out, and I never did.
Like what?
One was I wanted to do an online protest that would be, but basically would say, even if the God of the eternal hell did exist, we would never serve him. Kind of along that lines. I had a vision of it being like massive, where like you had like I just didn't know how to do it though. Like I'm actually thinking. I was inspired by you. You had a day protest thing just recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Well, it's not yet. It's going to be the 21st, January 20th.
Yeah. And that actually made me think that that's how I could do it, and then maybe make it a week thing or a day. I haven't decided what day yet, but. Or I might not do it exactly like that, but it looks something like that. But I had a vision of it being like massive. Like, and then I also had this idea to start a Wicked Atheist Wednesday, I called it. And I had one member in the group say that the word wicked was kind of a negative thing. For me personally, I looked at it as kind of like the unholy trinity with Matt Dillahunty, and like they use that word just kind of a play on like we're evil, but we're not. That's kind of the mindset I had. Like wicked, when people say you're wicked, it's a good thing, man. You're cool. So I had I don't know. I was trying to think of something that would be catchy, but something we could like maybe unite us more together more. Like Wicked Atheist Wednesday, and then people like a day when people post memes that have that label on it. But now I'm thinking that it could be another thing where it could be a promotion of good deeds that atheists do, or whatever. Wicked Atheist Wednesday, like I could share a story of an atheist who does charitable work or whatever, right? Like something like more positive thing. I think that would be a cool idea. Because then theists would seem atheists actually they're actually not that bad of people. There's still that reputation that we're evil somehow. I don't know why, but.
Yeah, to me, I don't really worry about that. I don't give a shit. They see me as evil, not evil. What I try to do is not live my life according to their beliefs, because there will always be someone that sees me as not right, as evil, as whatever. So I really, I'm gonna say for me personally and I use AtHope Wicked Designs as my art thing. So I mean, I don't care about that word either. Whatever. Yeah. So I do evil and wicked looking stuff. So what? And I like art. Yeah, so I mean, I'm goth. I like dead skulls and whatever. Oh well. I've had people before say they don't like how some of my art is too, evil looking, and I just go, and? So what? Well, some people won't like it. Okay. Some people won't like a lot of things. And it's like you were saying too, sometimes people will say things, you gotta just let it go. To me, I came from nothing, from no followers, from everyone thinking all my ideas were just crazy or rejecting everything.
Yeah.
And they know what I did? I tried to take it under consideration. Was it reasonable? And if it wasn't, I just moved on. People have told me, no one will ever use the word axiological. Oh, everybody does now. So, what I meant is don't allow your belief to only be built off the belief of others. In other words, your belief of self or what's right for you to do, don't let others be the only ones, the authors in your mind. I mean, I think it's good to allow others to, review our work, because sometimes things we think need a rewrite, but we can't let other people's be the author for us.
Yeah. I like getting constructive criticism, actually. It's helpful. And I like reading other writers' stuff and I know that they're a more experienced writer. I could learn from that. So it's good. Like, I read a writing, I think it was like yesterday. This female, I can't remember her name, but she wrote this thing on Black Lives Matter and comparing to White Lives Matter, and because people are making a big deal of White Lives Matter too. It's like, yeah, we know that, but why does it need to be emphasized? That's what the whole point of her article was, and she wrote it so well. So she's a great writer. I was almost more impressed just for her writing it alone. And then her all stuff stayed to heart, and the message too was great. It was like, this is awesome. So I shared it on my page.
Right on. But that's what I was just saying as advice for you too. Do what your heart. I tell people always think that because I'm so rational, I don't ever, use my heart. Yes, I do. That's my whole passion for life. What I try to do is make sure that I curtail it, with rationality. That I don't allow myself to be so passionate that I go off the deep end or something. So, but I mean, other people are not always going to like you. And in people in general, I don't know why this is, are more tend to critique others than to compliment. So, but
that's true. That's human to be like that. Actually, that's one thing I overcame this year, probably more than anything else, because I went through a phase where I was pretty active as an antitheist, but I was more getting drunk and drunk rants on Facebook, and it was all messy. And a lot of swear words, and it was just very, it wasn't organized, it was very sloppy, and now I'm trying to be a little more intelligent about it, trying to be smart about it, and it feels better. But there were times when I would post something and I'd be like, oh, cringe a little bit, thinking I like it, because I have Christian friends I care about, the thing is, I'm being open about it. It's this is the option, you can block me if you want, but I'm putting this out there. You can read my stuff, you can ignore it, whatever you want, but so now I'm feeling less, I don't feel as guilty. Now I don't feel guilty, the last, half a year, so I feel like, why post it? No, I don't care what people think. It's I've lost a few friends over it, whatever. It's
what do you think changed for you?
Well, actually, one of the things that changed was the support from the community, the atheist community itself, because what happened was I had a bunch of atheists on my Facebook page who, I don't know, it seemed like they weren't really interested in things I was posting. I don't care if they're always interested, but sometimes you put a lot of effort into something, and then nobody shows interest in it, and that kind of sucks, but they think, oh, it's not really that bad. But then I noticed, certain people on the page who were, I love memes, right? And these are memes that they weren't even writing themselves. I write my own memes once in a while. And they were awesome memes, but they were getting 90 likes. And I was like, what's going on here? What's with this person that likes are so, for me, it's not even so much the likes, it's the ideas. If you post an idea and you think it's a good idea and people are interested in it, then that idea is going to be spread. I don't care about, oh, Mark Lee's posts sound great, and then, it gets people, I give shit about that. I'm more interested in, the idea itself, getting interest. So I noticed that. So what I did is I added all the friends you had underneath that I like this thing. I added them all as a friend on Facebook. They all added it. And I realized I just need to start adding more atheist friends on my page. As soon as I started doing that, I got a lot more support, and it was great. And then I got to support other people as well. So you don't feels great to know you have a community like that, and people that like your stuff, and like your style, or whatever. I had a little bit of conflict a few times. I read one atheist. Actually, I think he removed himself from a page, whatever he was with, but he's a bit of a troll. I think Marx needs to come out of the theist closet or something like that. I was like, what? Then I told him my story. I used to be a theology major. I was studying to be a pastor. that does rub off on it too. I think my style I think this is not a bad thing.
Oops.
I think it doesn't hurt to have former theology majors and former pastors become atheists. That's a strength, I think, because they can take it they can look at the Bible in a different way, like that maybe other people won't see. And I think that's the thing is Christians are going to listen to that more. It's more of a threat to them, I think. And so science should be a threat to them, but it isn't much. Because that's one of my weaknesses is science. So you know your science pretty good, eh?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at science. I focus more on the why of things because of being in psychology. Also, I want to know why. First thing, if someone starts giving me any idea, I am already thinking why. Why are they telling me this? Why is it of value? Why did they think that it's real? I'm already having all kinds of why things whenever someone's telling me something. But for atheism though, I use a lot more philosophy too, because to me it's a tool to aid in more or higher accuracy in thinking, or higher accuracy in how you process other people's thinking. Because other people present thinking all the time, and sometimes it can, as a group, it might sound great, but when you start breaking it down, you start going, that's not great at all. And so like I agree. I don't try to slam them with science, and that's not my expertise anyways. I do know things, but I focus more on what science can know, can't know, but that's more about the philosophy. So I do know some science things. I know a lot of archaeology things, if that's what you mean by I know science. Archaeology, I know a lot. I mean, I'm not saying I'm some expert or anything, and all this stuff, but I have been the last 5 years at least, I have been just hammering myself. I read like 5 books from archaeology had to do with college. Because one was an intro to archaeology, and other ones were about archaeology of religion and stuff. And I mean, some of the books I buy are like $100, $150. I'm not talking about. Awesome. Well, because I want to know. I'm a truth seeker. Want to know. I'm a rationalist. I want to know what's the real facts. What do we really know, or what's available, as much as I can, try to understand. And so I want to know, when did this problem, I know the why. When did this problem start? What was the first thing? Why was the first thing? How did this evolve? And started, working on trying to understand. Because I realized I knew nothing. And it's talked to a lot of atheists, and it seemed like they knew a little bit about some religions, but even ones at the highest levels still didn't seem like they knew the evolution correctly. That everything past the say Egypt's religion or Sumerian religion, everything past that seemed like no one had I'm not saying there may be someone that does, so I'm not blaming, but
it should be brought up. But you brought it up in that one post. That was a good post, because that's stuff you should know about.
And so
I don't know much about it myself.
But so that's why I was like, I want to know. And then I realized, wow, the only thing you can get is you have to buy tons of $100, $150. One of them is like almost $200. It was like 1,700 pages, humongous book that hurts to hold. You're uncomfortable to read. You have to lay on a table. But that can't be the way that we atheists learn. I mean, it can't be that spread out and considered to be available. So to me, the evolution of religion is not really available to me. So I thought, well, then I need to change that. I need to make it available to everybody, so we can start using this. So we can start having people think and start having people fight back from a place of knowledge, not a place of, I don't think religion is real. I can say, well, which thing are you talking about? Because I can tell you in a not 100 pinpoint accuracy, but a general thing, I do know. I do know when God started. Gods are not any way older than 7,000 years old to me. From what the evidence is, probably closer to 6.5 or 6, or just little late 5 or something, but certainly. And then there's a whole thing I learned about, shamanism and totemism and animism. I just started learning on, whoa. And so it just...
parallels to different stories, right? You see where, certain stories in the Bible are influenced by them.
Oh, yes.
That's something I wanted to learn. I wanted to just find out where the links were. Because Aaron Ra talks a lot about it, these stories that were the serpent was influenced, and I learned that it was a symbol of dualism. It makes sense in the story, too. So,
me and Aaron Ra would probably be really good together. But we actually, even though it sounds like we're saying some of the same stuff, often it's very different. In other words, I'm more into anthropology, archaeologist, anthropologist, and he does paleontologist about dinosaurs and all that, and creationism. So it says it's about the past, but it's kind of a little bit different. And then the other thing is, my approach to religion once again is like archaeological data, and then some other stuff, some history, and it's called ethnography or whatever, where you take the actual people that still live in that area or practice, and you see what they're in relation to past beliefs, and you can kind of sometimes understand people. Yeah. So he does more mythology. He focuses a lot more than I do. He knows a lot more about a lot of the intricacies of the mythologies in the world religions, which I know some, but I'm a lot better at anything before 5,000. I'm a lot better than most people.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been really caring about. So everything 5,000 and down, I do know and I talk about and I break down, but he would probably be a lot better at the intricacies in that than me. But what would be great is us actually together as the unholy thing, because we would be able to just dominate. I would be able to do everything before, and he would have way more knowledge. It would be awesome.
It's like there's a different different strengths and personality and character. Like some people charitable and involved with good socially and people. With me, I'm not. I kind of been a loner through the years, but I also got into drugs pretty heavy for quite a few years before. So I used to anyways. So it was a different road I went to, but like the whole Matt Dillon, he's got a certain style about him, and then you got Aaron Rod's style and stuff. It seems like it all works. It's great. That's for me. When I was studying to be a pastor, I had to learn how to be a leader like that. I guess with the Genius Atheist, I had that mindset too. I was hoping to get a bunch of people together with different talents.
Yeah.
And see how we could just support one another and not necessarily be where it's how do you say it? Not that I'd be telling them, okay, you can do this and bigger that, but okay, so you're a singer, so what kind of lyrics do you have? Maybe you can share it with us, and then I might share it on my own page. So it has kind of been like that a little bit, but atheists, a lot of atheists are quiet too, and I noticed too, it's not uncommon for atheists to feel shy about their atheism because of their family and their situation.
Oh yeah.
And I totally respect that. I have people in many geniuses who are there to learn, but they're not ready to talk about it too much in public because they're worried they're going to be their family's just going to disown them. So it's sad that it is that way. But isn't it incredible to live in a world where people can still be killed for being an atheist? I just learned recently that Egypt's thinking about changing their law. There's 13 countries right now where you can be imprisoned or killed for being atheist. Openly atheist, especially.
Right.
Egypt, you couldn't talk about it, but you could be an atheist. Now they're thinking of making it, criminalizing it. Why? I don't understand it. They see it as a threat. I want to understand this. I just want to understand why. To me, it doesn't make Islam look any good. It makes it look even worse. It doesn't promote honesty at all. To me, if I'm a religious person, I believe in God, and I believe this God's a God of truth, I would want people to be honest believers. I don't get it. But that's how it was in the Old Testament too, right? The Old Testament was like that as well. If you did anything else, you'd be stoned to death.
You could be killed, and you'd be killed for having unbelief.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it wasn't as common back then, obviously. But at least Yahweh.
But so the reason, there's several reasons why it may not be, like you said, it wasn't very common. Like you meant to be common of atheism. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, like.
Back in
those days, yeah, there wasn't as many. More people believed in gods back then, for sure. There was less atheists.
So to me, there's two things. Number one, institutionalized religion, which is to me almost all religions today.
Yeah.
Institutionalized, what I mean by that is that it's an organization in itself.
Yeah.
It's not like a thing we can choose or not choose. In other words, and that includes even like some indigenous. You're indigenous, you're born to that faith.
Yeah.
Right? So the same with a Christian belief or a Jew. The people believe Muslims believe they're born to the faith. So that is that's a new thing. That's why to me you see when you go further back where the religions can kind of spread and change and morph a little bit because they didn't have that. It is this only way, period. That's it. They didn't have that. So
that's why Christianity and Islam became so big, right? And
well, they say it's this or we kill you. So yeah.
I used to think the eternal hellfire was. I even said on my wall a few times, like that doctrine is going to kill Christianity eventually. But actually, no, it's a part of their anchor.
Yeah.
People it's one of those things that keeps people in their parade. Even if they think it's a little bit ridiculous, just in case. So,
oh, definitely. It's fear mongering.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to not feel like we have to be like everybody else too. Like I think that the problem is that we evaluate only few kinds of quality, and when truly quality can be in all kinds of things. I mean, it's like saying, the fact that a good person in one kind of music doesn't mean that other people in other kinds of music aren't good.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, to me, that's why I always say there's all kinds of atheism. There's all kinds of ways of doing atheism. I think there's all kinds of ways that work. There's all kinds of ways of debate that work. I mean, I think I only have problems with people that try to say that only this way, only this thinking, only this. What?
Yeah.
I get
away with it. Away from it sometimes, but I like to try to be more try to talk to people, try to encourage conversation. Where other people will go in there and you guys are just you guys leaders are just a bunch of religious tarts. I don't know if that works. Maybe it works for some people. That's not my style, but I prefer trying to reason with people at some level of they're a human being. I used to be a believer myself. I know what it's like to be a believer. Try to put myself in their mindset and then go from there instead of just slamming them with But I've gone away from that. But I've been guilty of that myself. So.
Have you ever done? Have you ever done? Sorry.
People on the other side do the same thing, though, right? Believers is even more funny. It's I thought that you're followers of Jesus. I had a certain perspective of Jesus being although if you look now when I read the Gospels, I don't see Jesus the way I used to. But Jesus was kind of fucked up. He said a lot of fucked up shit. I mean, back then it seemed normal to me. Now I read it and it's what the hell is he talking about here? I don't know.
So have you ever done on the street activism?
Well, when I was a Christian, I did.
Yeah.
No, I haven't as an atheist, though. I know about it, though. What's his name? Street epistemology?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Do you do that?
Well, okay. So yes, I go on to colleges and I go on the street and do activism. No, I don't do street epistemology. Street epistemology is a certain type of dialectic, which actually, to me, it should be called more like something like the street Socratic method, because really the form of dialectic that street epistemology uses is mainly the Socratic method, which is not all of dialectic, but a branch of it. So what I do is more dialectical rhetoric. Rhetoric is the pushing or promoting of ideas, the ability to do so. And dialectic is basically the questions or inquiry in search of truth. So that's really how Well, my batteries go dead with my computer. Hold on. So I do it something like I said. It's similar, but it's not.
Well, I did see a video of your flip chair.
Yeah.
The reaction from the Christians was hilarious. Great.
You mean mean?
They didn't have a chance. Like they're way more than they do. It's like they didn't have a chance. I almost felt bad for them a little bit, but
right? Because you see. You saw how I was able to take him down, and one of the things that I do that once again, because I'm dialectical rhetoric, I just don't question. I question and I give evidence. But then what I do, how I do it though, my goal is at least, because I can't always do it right, but my goal is give you evidence, but then use reason to basically like almost corner you against the evidence, so you can't get away. It's like a checkmate. I do like mental checkmates. Here's evidence. Here's reason. Tell me how it can be any other way. Yeah. And they basically, they get cornered. Like you say, well, I know God. Okay, what's a God?
Exactly, yeah.
And they're like, well, it's a spirit. What's a spirit? I don't know what that word is. What do you mean by that?
The Bible says. Well, what does that mean?
Right, so you get my point. So, but my goal is to do that, and then I don't just question, then I ease up when now they know they're thinking. I now they know that they can't just give me nonsense, words. They're at a place of, then I teach. Then I offer a little bit of information, but then I use reason again and push it up against the evidence, and then I go, how could it be anything else? And I do it again. How could it be anything else? What do you mean by that? I keep holding them accountable. You said this. What about this? You said this. What about this? And so it's my way of doing it. So yeah, I do that, but it's different. And what's that?
Okay, like your personality, that really works well with your personality. So
right,
it wouldn't be for everybody.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not saying it every single person will have the aptitude to do it, of dialectical rhetoric, but because rhetoric is the ability to speak. So if you're not really, a speaker, then dialectical rhetoric may be hard for you to master. Not impossible, but my technique of the hammer of truth, anyone could use. And the greatest thing to me is if you learn how to use it, you can take on a philosopher and be able to hold your own. Because of the fact, if you just stick to this thing, most people don't actually. So it's ontology, which is a form of philosophy, but basically what I'm using as a tool of you want to know the thingness of something. Like if I say that Mark is just a name till I attach it to you. But since could be 10,000 possible Marks, how is it that Mark Lee is different? Can't just be two names are different, because there could be people with that exact name and still not you. And so that's where the difference of to me, when I ask for what's a God, I'm not wanting your definition. As in, I can give you a definition for Stay Puft the Marshmallow Man that doesn't make it a real thing.
Yeah.
So I'm asking for its real qualities. Now, that's why when they try to use different words, they don't get as I want to hear. And I know that there's no real qualities of God, because no one knows. You're just hypothetical. You're just saying a book says this person, I think. Yeah, but there is no, because then the next thing is that you ask is the epistemology, which is street epistemology kind of deals with, or as their main thing, but is only one step in my process, because I have three things. So first is ontology. What are you talking about?
Just 1 second. What's going on, what? I'm on that video. What's that? No worries, man. I'll put you. Sorry, brother.
No problem. So the first thing I ask is the ontology, which is the what. What are you talking about? The qualities of a thing, whatever it is. So most people will talk in generalities. They actually don't know what they're talking about. So, but once you start holding them accountable, that you can't just say, well, Mark Lee. Well, Mark Lee who? That doesn't, you have to tell me more about him. So I know specifically where he lives. I need to know more information. So so they very quickly, like in that video, like you said, that guy realized he could not answer me. Then they realize really quick. That's why they get flustered if they actually are honest enough to acknowledge that they just realized they don't know what God is. That to me is doing more for them than if I sat there and listed why every religion is false. Because I just got them to realize in their own head they do not know. Very profound. I have tons of atheists that give me a hard time. Oh, that's a stupid thing. That doesn't go anywhere. Oh, really? Doesn't go anywhere? You're talking to a person with a psychology degree. I understand how to manipulate the mind. And I'm not to brag. I'm just making a comment that I understand. I was going to be a drug and alcohol counselor. As a drug and alcohol counselor, I did intervention training. So I wanted to do interventions with people that are not only not of sound mind, but actually intoxicated often when you're talking to them. Now try to reason with that person. Person that could be dual diagnosis sometimes, where they have mental illness plus have addiction. And you still have to counsel them. You still have to try to get them to do non-self-harm behaviors when everything in them wants to be self-harm. So, I mean, so the ability you have to be, so I know that to me, when you can actually get the mind to reason, it will do the work for me. I don't need to. I don't need to change everything. I don't believe in getting people to doubt. What I want you to do is not doubt, because doubt can be quickly removed with faith, quickly removed with another belief. No, but reason. If I show you the reason why you should either believe or doubt, then it is very hard to go back, because you can't stop that thinking. That thinking's like, ooh, like just grating on you. And so I want to inspire, not doubt. That's what the goal of, like, I hear, or it seems like the goal of street epistemology is to inspire them to doubt, or to get them to start questioning their beliefs. That's not my goal. My goal is to remove your ability to believe. That is my goal. So my goal is strategically to pinpoint your process that you're believing in. Your process of believing is you never even accepted that it had to be a thing. You just blind belief. Not you personally, but I'm saying people do. They say there's a God. You don't go, what are you talking about? We just go, okay. And they go, this God does A, B, C, D, Z, D. And just go, okay. I mean, I realize I approach that with almost no thought at all. And if I were to tell you that right now I have a new car, would you just go, okay? You'd be like, well, what's the car? How much did it cost? Was it brand new, or did I buy it used? You would, because you realize in reality we need that kind of info. But when it comes to fantasies, we allow ourselves, but then I feel like atheists we often, I don't do that, we allow people to just push all this nonsense words, and then we start fighting over their beliefs about the words. Wait a second, you never even got me to understand what you mean by God. Let's start there. And see, that the great thing to me is that, in a sense, that's a non-threatening to them, because don't they want to talk about their God? Aren't I giving them the opportunity to talk about it? So,
wow.
But see, and that's what you do, like on having a group and starting a page. It's starting the conversation. I don't think that the conversation should, for me personally, to be about doubt, because in a sense, some religious people feel that a test of faith or a doubt is a way towards faith, to deeper understanding of faith. So some of them almost go on a navigation of doubt just to try to, fix every doubt from being removed. But like I said, to me, that is, we're assuming that what? They're critical thinkers? That they're going to reach proper doubt properly? I assume no. They are fantasy thinkers that do not understand critical thinking. And so I take it upon myself, at least. I'm not saying any other style is wrong. If people can use it, works great for them, great. I'm not putting down everyone always says, do I do that? And no, I do not. My thing is completely different. Even though it uses one stage that is epistemology. I have ontology. What are you talking about? Epistemology. How do you know that? And axiology. What value is what you're presenting? I have value, judge. Let's just say I say, okay, I know what God is. God is, a pink unicorn. Lives on Neptune. I know this. Okay, I know that's on Neptune. It's a pink unicorn. Then you start asking more questions. How do I know that, right? It's what? So, but let's say that I could even present you with, well, I believe there's a pink dot that NASA showed, and I know in my heart, heart of hearts, I know that's a pink unicorn, and that's God. So then you would say, axiologically, when you evaluate the evidence, a pink dot, it's not really evidence of a unicorn. Certainly not an evidence of God.
No, yeah, absolutely.
See what I'm saying? So I use three things. So you could provide me evidence, and I don't just give questions. I start to challenge that thinking. Because I have axiology, which is a value judging theory or science. So when you present me something, I can judge, is this evidence? And we can figure it out together, because I can show you why it is or is not. Or I can certainly question its validity. Is it valid? Is it reliable? In other words, if we can say that maybe because there's a pink dot on Neptune, does that mean that any pink dot that we find, we're going to assume is what? Pink unicorns, and they're all gods? Do you see? But I'm saying is, I'm working with them, though. I'm like teaching them, teaching them critical thinking. That's my style.
That's like I'm pretty active on YouTube, comments. Like I do challenge people. Somebody will say something about sin or something. I'll be like, dumb. And they're like, what's sin? What is it to you? What does sin mean? Because I know what sin is to them, but I'm trying to get them to think of they usually give me answers. Like the other day, that gave me an answer was like, you obviously need to read the Bible, and you still have to pastor. He was flagging it off. Basically, this opportunity, he didn't take that opportunity, and at that point, I had to go in another direction.
Well, so one of the things that I would do, like in that thing, is the art of fighting without fighting. So you tell me, I say, what's sin? And you don't want to answer, but I know you don't. So let's just say you say that it's in the Bible. I need to read the Bible. So I would say, okay, could you provide all the ones on sin for me? We can go over them if you would like. Because I try to think that my goal is not winning. It's simply trying to help teach. My goal is not to see them as a challenger, although I sometimes label them as challengers, just so everyone knows. But to me, they're a fellow learner. I'm a learner. I'm still learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my point is that when I change my attitude and I put myself as this person doesn't know things, but they're not against me. They're not challenging me. They're trying to learn. And I'm trying to learn too. And if I know something they don't, I'll try to teach them. And if they have something to teach me, I want to learn.
Yeah. It's actually, that's something I learned at the level. Get on. I'm reading myself. See, I'm trying to maybe kind of go to the level instead of preaching down at them or whatever. The words are just sometimes tempting to do at times, especially when they throw things at you you don't like. The other day I got offended because I was talking to another guy who was an atheist about how he couldn't have been a real Christian because Christians don't fall away from God. And I immediately took that offense. But he wasn't even talking to me.
Right.
And I gave my story. I don't know if I got a response back from him, but I wanted to basically climb on him, like, right away, like, that's just a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, but then, I shouldn't, I don't know, like, there's times when we shouldn't be offended. Just try to relax and, okay, realize they're in a certain mindset and not to be offended by it.
Well, I didn't say I don't get offended. I get offended all the time. Yeah. But it's not the offense. It's the action after it, right? You know psychology, right? So it's not, like, anger is a secondary emotion. It's not the first one. So my job is to actually deal with the first one. And the first feeling I could feel is, like in your situation, is threat. I could feel unheard. I could feel unacknowledged, because it's making a personal feeling in me. And so I don't think that there's wrong with addressing when people talk nonsense. I address it. In fact, I think we should address it more. It's really, to me, how we do it. And to me, my goal, that's what I want to think about. What's my message? Like when you did that, I don't think about so much just what I post, but why am I posting it? The why. Why am I doing this? Am I doing it out of care? Am I doing it out of strife? Do I want to make things better, or am I really trying to make things worse? Once in a while, I mean, I could be human. I get pissed off, and I want to burn down the world. But I stop, or try to stop, and realize, what can I do to make it better? If the world's already burning and everything is this bad, what can I do to change that? Because it's already bad to me. What can I, especially if I'm angry? It's so some things I try to slow down and go, this is an opportunity for me to think of how I present myself. If I see this person and they look ugly and they're saying mean things to me and they're putting me down, what am I doing? Not to this person, but in my life. Every time someone is mean in that way to me, I try to go, I want to use this as a learning experience for me. How can I be more caring, more thoughtful, more understanding, less angry? How can I be the quality that I say is lacking in that person that's doing this now to me?
Yeah.
And it good.
I was going to ask you, as far as, like, when I was a Christian, there was always the question of motives. Like,
of
one
what?
of the things I like about being an atheist.
The question of what?
The question of motives. Like,
motives.
Like, for me personally, I kind of think that people who are hurt by the church in some way, and we shouldn't, like, live in the past, but like sometimes certain things are a spark plug for certain people. I think it doesn't hurt to, like, not necessarily, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, it's not a bad thing that people, if they're coming in, they want to be anti-theist, they want to, like, start being activists kind of thing. But we come in with different motives. Like, for me, I take pride in my stuff too. I want to be a good writer. I have pride in, like, if I make an argument I feel it's a good argument, I take pride in that. But when I was a Christian, it was always about God. Oh, it's not me. I'm humble. I'm trying to be humble, right? It's all God. God did it through me. It's like, I don't know, I'm waiting for that now. Now it's like, we can actually just take a stand and say, well, no, actually, I feel good about that, or, I came up with that. So, where there's times, like, for me, I had a bit of resentment in my past, kind of personally, but, like, that at first was what got me into being more active, being more of an activist and being more out there. But it was based a lot on anger, straight up anger, and at that time, it wasn't directed in the right. Like, it was everywhere, but it was the start. So, like, for me, in ingenious atheist, I want to, like, I have said before, like, in some of my posts, that, like, it's not a bad thing that that some of us have these backgrounds, and we can use that to our advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a bit of a fire, We're talking about firebrand atheists. Actually, I consider myself a firebrand atheist.
Oh, I'm a firebrand atheist. I totally agree. And I'm an anti-theist and I'm an anti-religionist, but I agree with you. I'm not anti-people. I'm anti-bad ideas, just like I'm against the idea of ancient aliens because it's not true, and other things like that are not true. I mean, I'm against non-truth being promoted as truth, especially when people's lives are on the line. It can't be tolerated. If there's, if 4 people are in their basement, playing Dungeons and Dragons and believe they have real dragons living down there with them, that's not hurting anybody. If they're out in the streets and they're murdering people that don't believe in dragons, that's a problem.
Yeah. There's Aaron Ross saying that there was this guy who met the creationist. He said he actually believed in dinosaurs that breathed fire. I thought that was so funny. I'm like, really? That's hilarious. Like, that's another step. Like, what?
Like walking on water and raising the dead and all kinds of other.
Yeah, see, for me, the religion, it's like, I don't mind people's beliefs that they're all positive, but their beliefs always involve everybody else, and it's a bad situation for everybody else. So if people are like, well, if you don't believe in it, why do you care? Because you know it's not going to happen anyway. I care that children are being taught this stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
heard a story with Métis in our group. Stories she's told me, she's mentioned about like growing up with eternal hellfire. It's horrible for her. Like nightmares and stuff. I'm like, wow, I couldn't imagine. I'm lucky I didn't have that, but it's horrible. I consider child abuse. It's in the mental abuse. Like, I don't think people don't really mean to be that way, but it is.
Well, it's at least intellectual abuse.
Yeah, it's not like, like
because
it's not sexual abuse, like physical, but it's like, it is a bad
psychological or intellectual, I think.
Yeah, it's just stuff doing that. When you die, you might go to hell. Hell is where you burn forever. If heaven was just that's it, and it kept it out of politics, I wouldn't even bother, probably. Although I'm a big supporter of euthanasia, personally. Like, I believe in euthanasia. I saw my mom suffer when she passed away, and from that point on, I totally support euthanasia. Well,
I support it as long as it's voluntary.
Yeah, unless it's voluntary, yeah. Some people don't want it.
What's that?
Yeah, it shouldn't be forced on people. I think that. We should have that option. I don't know, religion opposes that, and then it's like...
I'm not against it. I for people, to me, and just anarchists, to me, people own themselves. That's one of just the core philosophies of mine is everyone owns themselves. You own yourself. I don't own you. So I don't own your body. I don't believe anyone should tell you what to do with your body. That includes what drug you do or what you eat or what you have sex with. I mean, or how you want to die. To me, it should be all up to you.
It's obviously, this with sex would be age consent.
Well, age of consent. Well, yes, I meant with adults. Consenting adults obviously don't do whatever you want if that involves raping people. I mean, or murdering them. I mean, obviously but you know what I'm saying. I mean, but if I'm saying about their own body, if you wanted to sell yourself into slavery, it's your body. I mean, that shouldn't. I just feel like you should own you, whatever that is, and I feel like you are selling yourself into slavery when you want to be religious to me, because you don't own you.
I agree with that. It really is like you're just giving yourself away. But I never talks about that's a world. Like, I don't want to be in the world. Like, this is the world we live in, man. Like, it's the life we have. Like, you don't want to be a part of it. Like, because you're thinking about the world coming up that you believe in, and you're actually giving up your freedom of this one life. And they don't realize that they're actually separating themselves from the people they know. Because like, I remember when I used to listen to the same music all the time, and now he listens to all praise music. There's a separation there, you know? It's like, they don't realize it, but it's not a big deal, whatever, it's happening and stuff, but like, they really are, they're really good chance on this, betting on this happening thing, so. Like, I was 17 for that, that was in 24, like, there's a lot of news there, I had some good experiences too, I did things that I preached, like, I used to get to them in church. There's things I've done in that life that I got to do also there, but I feel a lot of freedom. I've been to lots of concerts since then. I've been a metal fan and rock fan, so I wouldn't have went to Iron Maiden concert back in those days. That was evil.
Well,
Iron Maiden was evil.
Yeah, I had a religious friend that wouldn't even listen to Mozart and stuff like classical music, depending on the person, because he wanted to make sure they were very religious songs. They had to be, and in their heart, I'm like, it's a whole song is no words. What do you? Well, but their intent, no, I want to know what was in their heart. I'm like, oh my, that is too much.
Seventh-day Adventist were a big rock. I was a big Christian rock fan. I love Petra and like guys like that, White Cross. Petra, they were kind of that in the Christian music, but it was kind of like a hard rock. You know. Anyways, like that was you couldn't listen to that even. Like, I don't know. So he was like, "Let me go back to listening to the old stuff." So I take a break from music now. I'm not like I have to do it. Like for years I've had it, but that really sucked. Though. Years ago, in the 90s, that was when I was a Christian. I was listening to their band and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. I was listening to these Christian bands, and I missed that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, no freaking enough sex. Couldn't have a drink once in a while. Smoke a joint or whatever. It was like, I don't know. Like, I'm so glad I escaped it.
So I wanted to talk about too. You are 1/4 native or indigenous First Persons. Could you tell us about that at all?
I don't really my mom's side. That's what comes from. My mom was very strict. Like that's where I get a lot of my personality from. Actually, she just always believed in nature and like her liver. Thing is, she was schizophrenic and she took a lot of medication for that, and it did damage to her liver. Actually, there is a possibility she may have been getting hepatitis C by accident. I don't know much about that, but anyway, when she had an option of like taking a liver transplant, she refused it because for her it was like a sacred thing for her. Almost like she didn't want to her taking another liver. It was like
another person's body.
She had that inner, like, that spiritual nature about her, like, that was, like, respectful to people, too. So, yeah, I think that she got that from her native side, in a lot of ways. So, general respect for nature and just life is people. So,
has that affected your atheism, do you think, at all, or has it had no bearing at all?
Well, I didn't become an atheist. I was just becoming an atheist when she was about to pass, and I wasn't as active. I was a little bit, I didn't believe in it, it didn't make me continue. So, no, she never saw. I don't know what the shit's like, drugs up here, something that has to do with that's interesting. I have stories that I tell people. When I was religious, I experienced, like, miracles, and like Red Sea parting, it happened. And when I drug abuse had made a lot of it. There was times when I would be on cancer or something. It would be like, I was closer to God at that time. It was that time. I was on magic mushrooms and that, and an amazing experience. And that to me was like what I didn't have that experience. So all of a sudden I handled it good. Delusion well. Some people freak out. It's not you. Like, I know when something's not. It's like it's in my head, so I play with it anyway. And it's a fantasy thing, but I don't. I know. I don't. So I saw someone do that. I had seen images of Jesus. That's a pareidolia thing. Pareidolia is kind of a new thing. And people don't know a lot about it. You see faces and objects.
Yeah.
You're walking down the road and see a tree, and you can see kind of a face in there. Like, a lot of people won't see it, but you can. But you have that it's called pareidolia. It's not real. When people see Jesus in toast and like objects, that's what it is. So,
that's common in people in general. But
some people think that stuff, but that's it's like, no, it's you want to call it pareidolia. It's good to know that, though. I think atheists should know. You have to go, like, they don't understand it. They should know about it. And then if somebody comes up to them and says, I saw Jesus in The Rock the other day. I've seen Jesus in the Rocks too, but I don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah. So do you know?
It's a common image. You see like a kid in a figure with a beard.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's for some people you see it more often than others, but yeah, people freak out and they're like, oh no, I think I just saw it. So I've seen lots of ghosts. I don't believe in ghosts, but
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of ghosts.
Well, but people they already did, science already did study. There's things in your brain that actually people can visually see stuff that's not there, and can actually feel touch, and it's all in their head. They can there's something that can stimulate a part in your brain. I can just give you a blog on it. I have, but there's a video that shows them doing it to people. Yeah. But I was gonna say is so have you ever thought about or do you know if there's any atheists in that tribe or that
I haven't really looked into it. I didn't even look into getting the Métis card. I remember I was actually opposed to that growing up. I didn't want to be treated really good. People would say, you should get your status, then you can get like benefits and stuff. And at that time, I thought, well, I want to be good. I want to get more benefits than the other. I didn't take advantage of it. But because now you benefits all the time. You should take them wherever you can. I think, but so I didn't do that, and I never really listened to it. It wasn't really part of my culture, but I do like native people. I love. I really like to learn how to do it. Something like there was really kind of things that was funny, and I don't know. So
yeah,
it's funny. The Canada in the United States, really different. Again, you guys they didn't have as much Christians in your base as you guys do.
Well, I know. That's why I took on that guy up in Canada. That's why I went to Alberta for one reason, to take him on, because they said that Alberta and him, he was the worst Canadian theist. And I said, oh, good. I want to take him on.
Oh, that guy.
Arthur Pulaski.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fine. How many debates have you done?
I was my only formal debate. I've done a lot of stuff on the streets, but I'm not like Matt Dillahunty. I don't really desire that formal stuff, because to me I'd have to write notes down. I like this kind of back and forth fast. My mind can think real fast. I don't have to write any notes down. I don't have to memorize nothing. I can do it all like that. Like I did that debate against him. I talked for 15 minutes at the beginning as my presentation. Whenever I was off the top of my head. I didn't think about nothing. I just walked up there, just did it off the top of my head. Didn't research, didn't nothing. But the problem is, to me, the people I don't like, because the commentary person stopped me, Damien. Having someone else telling me what to do and stuff, or when I know I'm getting them, and I'm using my technique is working, and then this person says stop doing that. Well, excuse me, I'm working here. So I mean,
I like some styles like Matt Slick's. I like these. All they do is talk philosophy, and they use like confusing terms that make them smart, and they got the charisma and the ability to speak. They're good at what they do.
Yeah.
But they don't really. They're good at fooling people because they're not really saying anything. Matt's making all the good points. They're winning the debate somehow. They're really not. The crowd looks over them really good. So I don't know if I can do it either.
Well, I'm not saying I can't do it, and I'll probably have to end up doing it more in the future, because my book's going to be coming out, and then I'll have to be doing a lot more stuff probably. As I'm not going to turn down people, want to take me on. All I'm going to tell them is it has to be semi-formal. I won't do formal debate. I have no desire in it, because I won't have someone telling me when I cannot talk, when I can talk, what words I've already used, what words other people are used. I mean, I just have, especially to me, that person was more on his side because he picked them. The person was another Christian, so I mean, but it doesn't. But my thing was just in general, someone interrupting me, and also having time, because I did my thing quicker than I was supposed to. Well, I don't care. Let him talk. But to me, the fact is, then when I wanted to talk, then he tried to cut me off, and the guy's like, "Your time." I said, "You need to give me more time." I gave him, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not. What you mean for that debate? There was probably about 10 people there, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Probably, maybe 11 or 12. But like only 4 of them, I think, were atheists. Only 3 of them were atheists. And the rest were all.
There's like a preference. Sometimes you're in a church crowd, and sometimes you're in a crowd with more atheists. And like,
well, the atheists told me they wouldn't go. They said they hated that guy so much they won't go. And I was like, more reason to go. And they're like, well, and they're like, well, you're not going to get this guy to think. I said, that's not why I'm going. Watch the video. That's not why I'm going. I have one goal, and I achieved my one goal. I wish I had calmed down, because he made me mad. I wish I had calmed down and then done more. But I did. But I feel good because I achieved my one goal. I said I want to show him as immoral. That's my only goal.
Yeah. That's
my only goal. Because he is a moralizer. He goes out there, he tells people they're sinning, they're evil, they're wrong, they're this, they're that. And he got put in jail in Canada for going and doing churches and bothering people and right in the street and everything. So, and he also went in front of the Calgary Parade, the Calgary Stampede, and got arrested for trying to walk in front of it with Christian stuff.
Huh, interesting.
Without asking. He just broke into the parade and just started walking for like a mile, and then they finally arrested him. Well, yeah, he feels he's persecuted and feels that no college will do a debate with him and everything. I told him, I'll take you on. And he got mad because he wanted someone else to do it, and I go, why? I want to take you on. But like I said, my biggest goal was I wanted to show him to be the immoral person that I knew he was. I already know he is. I listened to him talk, and so he's a jerk. And so I know that he helps homeless. He helps homeless, and that's good. But see, I feel like you could still do that and still be a jerk because he's a jerk to other people. So. So I know he goes and bothers and harasses them. So to me, and he thinks he's all the greatest. Fine, good. So he lied. He tried to say that all atheists know in their heart that there's a God. Wrong.
It's like, no, don't believe in God. It's like I'm sitting in my room and God is with me, friend, and I'm not afraid. It's like I don't believe in God.
Well, and I told him I know that he got that from somewhere else. That's not his. That statement he made, right? And so then he goes, well, it's in the Bible. And then I go, let's read it together. So he read it, and I go, that doesn't sound like what you said. Paul was saying he believes that in their heart, atheists or non-believers think this. You said you know that we know there's a God. You were less epistemologically honest than Paul was in the Bible. And I think even he was wrong, but at least he was admitting it was his belief. You were trying to say, good.
No, it's sort of like the perception of the Bible is probably that's like Paul doesn't, it's like, you didn't see Paul was talking to a church, a specific letter to a church at that time.
Right.
It's easy that Paul, God is telling Paul, tell us. So that's the Bible, that's true.
They do think that. They think it's like, yeah, it's odd how people can think that. But I know, because the thing that's crazy is the churches tell you how to read the Bible, or pastors, or whatever.
Actually, one of my conversations at the very end of my group, the idea of inspiration, it made no sense that inspiration ended with. Why couldn't a person write a book and why couldn't it be just as inspired and you've got the Holy Spirit inspired? People like us, they neglect that. It's like you're making your religion look poor. You should be supporting that. That makes your religion look better. But the idea that the matter that's the end of the story. Like, makes no sense to me. God doesn't talk to people anymore?
Yeah.
Well, apparently.
To some. What would you say is the thing that you like the most about realizing you're an atheist or getting involved in atheist activism?
What I like this one, I think it helped me more, like, it gave me I realized that I did theology and I wasted a lot of money on it. It's expensive to go to Christian school, and all of a sudden I felt like I was getting that knowledge back. Advantage, I was in a conversation again. It's almost like I was becoming a minister again, so I was an atheist minister. Even I had conversations with theology majors, with Pastor State. Yeah. God actually supports me because he knows I'm big on the anti-hellfire thing, so he likes that. He likes that I'm promoting that, but so it's kind of like I'm a part of community again. Like, even though the atheist faith is not the same in the sense, like, I'm not big on the, something that you say is, like, it's okay, like, for some people it works for them, like, for me, I'm not big on the atheist church idea.
Oh, I'm not either.
To me, it was like, I would never want, like, song service. No, I don't miss that at all. But for some people, that works for them, so that gives them their community, that's good. But, like, for me, being on Facebook and just, and I'm kind of socially awkward a little bit, and when I'm around a lot of people. But on Facebook, I could be, like, in a group and, like post status, and people could comment on it, and I feel like I'm a part of something. Like, I'm saying something that's important, and, like, people are, oh, yeah, that's awesome you said that. And then I can support them as well, and it's like, you feel like you're part of the community of some sort. It's kind of nice. That's what I like about it. You don't get that with, like, I'm a sports fan, and you do sense that, you have a little bit of that with sports, but not like that. Not like with, when it comes to, like, we don't actually have a belief system in a sense, or a code of conduct, but we do support each other's ideas. Like, if we come up with a good idea that supports, that promotes, like, I think there's no gods, you're like, oh man, I never heard that before, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like you're a part of something. Like, there's a bit of a, like, I could see why people think atheism is a religion. Like, I could see where they get that. But, obviously they're wrong, but, like, I could see where they can be misunderstanding it. It's, you guys, like, it seems like you guys are kind of religious. I know my brother, he's an atheist, but he doesn't, like, even state the atheist anymore. He thinks I'm the representative of atheism. So many times I've told people, most atheists don't even like talking about religion. They're just non-believers. What do we call them?
Atheist.
Yeah, it's like, they just don't, I'm actually criticized more on Facebook by atheist friends than I am theist friends. They're like, oh, Morgan, shut up already. It's like, they're just annoyed by it, right? I mean, it's like, whatever. But yeah, no, we're a minority, really, within there's not, like, most atheists don't go out and, like, do what you do, like, on the street, like trying to, like, do things, and go on Facebook and post statuses, oh, how this story didn't make sense, that's bullshit. Like, we're rare, but because our voices are so loud, everybody thinks we are the atheists. So, all atheists are like that now.
Well, yeah, because in a sense, that's another thing too. Why I always feel like I'm responsible, not because I want to, curtail my life to people. I'm not gonna do that, but my behavior, that I do try to curtail, and how I interact with people. Because I agree with you. If I'm too aggressive, or whatever, if I'm, but in general, like I said, it just makes me remember that actually, why don't I just do that all the time? Because I before I thought like, super hardcore. And then I started realizing, well, maybe I shouldn't do it to certain people. Because like you said, but I remember I used to believe, and and I remember when I didn't know anything, if you'd have said half the stuff that I know now, I wouldn't even know what you're talking about. You might as well be speaking another language. I would have absolutely no clue. But like I said, to me, I just keep it, and even, more and more, I realized it has to be all the time. It's not even how I treat this one person. I just need to be a better person, period. I need to be, I realize, people aren't really friends. Well, then I need to be a friend. I keep waiting. When is someone going to be my friend? Why don't I just go out there and be a friend? Why don't I emulate someone worthy to be a friend? Why don't I emulate something that's worthy to be respected? If I want respect, then emulate respect. Be something of respect. If I want to say that I wish I, was taken as my stuff was valuable, be valuable. Be someone that is of value. I just started realizing that it's a big call for myself to, be the best I can be. Because I do realize it has an impact, not just for believers, atheists. I want to, because my thing is not just, so if we all didn't believe in God, the whole world's perfect. Hell no. The world is not perfect, and that's just one of the problems. And so to me, I care a lot more about the quality of us as humans. And that's also why I feel like if someone tells me they're religious, I don't try to immediately change their belief. If you told me you're religious and we were talking or something, I would not hammer on you. If you just mention it and let it go, I may just let it go. If you don't ask me or tell me it's a fact, so to me, I'm a lot different than that, because I realize my goal has to be the point. What am I trying to do? And I realized, okay, if I cut through everything, it's not even my disbelief. It's really how I live my life that I really care about. And so that's why I want to live a value-driven life. I want a life that is of value, that promotes value. I want to do something. And so that's why I do what I do, is out of care. And it's also why I don't just do atheism. Why I care about other things, because people matter. We're the only ones. The animals matter. This planet matters. I mean, this is it. There's no one coming to save us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I find it interesting that in general, atheists are statistically cause less problems, less crime and something else. At least that's what, I don't know, what are recent numbers? I don't know, it's debatable, right? But atheists they're not worse than believers. There's not a big difference as far as morality. I'm surprised at the idea that we don't have morals. But,
to go to your statement, so it's 0.5 or less, it's not even 1% of atheists in federal prisons, I think it is. There's stats for that. And Christians, I can't remember now off the top of my head, but they're 17% or something. I can't remember now. But or maybe it's more. I don't want. I know the more that. Anyways, it's extremely high compared to the religious are way outbeat us as far as prison. Most of prison is filled with religious, not atheists. And that just is going towards their statement that atheists are in prison, but that wouldn't work totally to show the whole society. Just that, because that's crime. Because there could be people that don't have crime, either or. I mean, and also. Another thing is not just who's in prison because of what they do. In other words, there's a lot of people that commit crime that don't go to prison. I believe, especially if you're referring to stats in America, well, there's another problem. America is fond of putting people in jail that are people of color in a rate that's not proportionate to the crime. So, that has to do with several things, one of which is not representation legally. In other words, if you're poor, you don't have the money to afford a nice fancy lawyer that can help get you off. What you'll rather do is take a plea deal, because you have a public defender that actually doesn't defend you. They say, would you like to plea, please? Because otherwise you might end up in jail, and I don't have time to help you. I mean, our legal system is to me personally, but I don't want to get into that, but anyways, my point is, so I don't really find that the greatest thing to really defend, because of so many other negative, especially in America, factors. A better thing to do is hate groups. See, instead of what the government does, better what you do. Judging by what you do, right? You'll know them by their works. Well, we know them by their works, all right, because there is, I think it's 48. I have the link, but I think it's 48 different hate groups in America that are Christian, but there's zero atheists. There's zero, not one agnostic, not one, not even one. As of yet, I always tell people, as of yet, because who knows. With Trump in, I do believe that we're going to have some, maybe, but who knows?
I actually did have a time this past year where I experienced a bit of doubt, I guess. When, what was it? It was in Wisconsin. It was during one of the major events with atheists coming in there, and Matt Dillon was invited. And there was this thing where this one leader, who was a YouTube guy, was talking like, he's just known to be very, talks women down. Like, he's very sexist, and, he just has a certain attitude, and like Matt doesn't accept it. Like, there was a real turmoil there. I realized coming out, I realized I don't want to be attached to labels. Like, I want to be atheist, but I don't want to get to the point where it's like, it becomes like a religion in itself. But, I don't know, it just made me realize obviously we're not perfect, or, you know, we're going to have problems. Around, like, what's his name? Was it David Tyson's being accused of rape charge right now?
Who?
Like, I'm the type of guy who give the benefit of the doubt to a woman until it's proven guilty.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to say that he's necessarily a bad person. It's just like that stuff's going to come up. But it's reality. People do shit. So what do you do, right? So, but I realized with all the stuff, it was like I can't be attached to any one label, even atheist labels. I am who I am. I gotta be who I am, no matter what.
Well, I don't think that us saying that we're an atheist means anything that's other than we don't have a belief. I mean, to me, the real problem is atheism is a stance. Even if one were to say I'm an atheist and I'm a religionist, you would be a religious atheist. There is no such thing as atheism as a religion. You would be an atheist and you would be religious in your way that you do things, maybe, but that's not connected to your atheism. That is about your behavior. That is not about the not belief in a deity. See what I'm saying? The not belief in a deity is a separate thing.
Yeah.
Then what the problem is people are smashing these two things together. Let's just say that an atheist goes and murders 10,000 people. Genocide, worst thing ever. Thus, all atheists are murderers? No. Doesn't work that way. Because
you can go do that too sometimes. You can see all Christians are scamming people out of money. No, it's not. Most pastors are not scamming people. Most pastors are not liars in that sense. But sometimes they get labeled that. But all pastors are just a bunch of liars. It's like, no, they're not. You're not a liar if you believe it's true.
Well, I still think that because to me, you could be telling a lie, but you could still believe the lie is true. Yeah. It's called being conned. Exactly, yeah. Well, but I'm very into like the particularities of things because then we can understand them better. We not just you, but I'm saying me too. I have to focus on not talking in generalities because when we do that, it's way easier and to. And I've heard some before try to say that another fallacy though that all generalities are wrong, because no, that's wrong in itself. Because it's not that generalities are wrong; they can be right. The thing we need to be careful is they are not accurate by definition. They're not accurate. So we need to be careful because where is that bleeding over a little this way, a little that way could change how we view that same generality because it could have room. And so when I use them, not that I don't ever do it, but I try to think not a careful thing when I'm doing it. I need to always try to think breaking stuff down, slowing down my thinking. To me, most critical thinking is just simply people think too fast. Or they jump too much, like in Reason. They'll go A, B, C, D, F, G, K, or something. You're like, what the? You were doing good. You were A, B, C, D, and then you got bored or whatever, or tired, or didn't want to think, and then you jumped, 5 spaces, and But when to do really to be more accurate in our thinking, which means less errors. We have to slow down things and see the position of stuff because sometimes things could be really close, but they're still separate things.
Yeah.
Just like
I
was gonna say, just like when people say that atheism is a religion. Let's just say that someone wanted to turn it into one, right? So what makes a religion is not belief. In other words, if all if belief was religion, then there would not need the word religion. It would just be belief. People have belief. They wouldn't, in a sense, religion is a set of beliefs and dogmas. It's not just the beliefs itself, but it's the dogmas and the rules and everything else. It's a package deal. It's like a little, thing. It's not just one, it's like not just one crayon. It's the whole crayon box with a whole bunch of crayons. Just like if they say, because we'll just say, and this is true. Just think, is a religion only a God? Well, no. Sometimes it's a whole bunch of stuff. It's afterlife, right? It's a before life, because how you're supposed to live. It's also afterworld beings and this world beings that are. There's a whole gamut of things, demons and hells and angels and
Well, even a lot of Satanists are atheists, but in a sense they're a religion for them. They have their own following,
They are religious, yes.
Would you consider that a religion in a sense, like Levian Satanism? Well,
I would say that it depends on how they are, because once again, it's just saying something. Like in other words, well, because I like the details. So someone could say that they're a Satanist. I don't know what that means until you define it more. Because to me, it could mean 3 common current forms of Satanism, or it could be pre-Christian devil worship, which was more about trickster gods or malevolent deities kind of a thing than Satan. Like devil and Satan, since most people consider those things the same, then I consider devil worship because of trickster gods in a sense, or malevolent forces, because sometimes it's not a god, so say nature or in some way is evil or can be a trickster. People can do that because I could say in a sense you would say, oh, it sounds ridiculous. Well, really? What if I don't pray to him as I worship particularly? What if I believe in, say, the Great Spirit, but I say this trickster god Loki or whoever is going to go to you and cause you strife and mischief in my benefit, for my benefit? Or maybe I think Loki is putting, or saying whatever, some other name, some other, deity or whatever is putting some sickness on me or something, and so casting it out in a sense is part of, communing and believing in the deity in a sense. So, but there's different kinds, because there's Levian Satanism, there's which is to me almost like animistic Satanism, because they do believe in some sort of a something generally. Then there's ones that are atheistic, and there's also ones that people practice that are more like anti-Christian than.
Yeah, it's not a philosophy.
And some and there's also ones that are more spiritual Satanism, where it's kind of like a hedonistic worshiping of human, not specifically a deity, more like I worship the devil by being myself. In other words, like I be sexual if I want to, I eat food if I want to, or drugs or alcohol, but in a sense I glorify myself, whatever. Like I've heard it described as atheism.
Actually, that's a new term for me. This past year that I never heard before. The atheism. No, I'm thinking of something else.
You're thinking of my agnostic, which is I
never heard that before.
Yeah,
I was in a debate group on Facebook, and some guy mentioned it. I've never heard it before in my life. What the heck is that? Then I looked it up. I think you did a video on it or something.
Yeah, I do have a video on it.
Yeah. Again, I still didn't understand it.
So it's like my hammer of truth. It's the first part. It's the ontology. It's the same thing. And I don't know what a God is. So if you say to me, do you believe in God? My first question, or it depends on what I'm doing, but a lot of times, it's like in that one video, eventually I'll get to it because almost always I want to get to it, is what do you mean by God? And then you give me whatever you say, and I go, well, hold on a minute. You say God is, God is, God is. That's not what the God is. That is what you say a God can do. But first validate the thing before you tell me qualities of what it does. In other words, if you say God is all loving, God is all powerful. Hold on, no. Those are what something can do. Let's first validate the thing. Then we'll start listening to what you say this thing can do. In other words, I tell you about a horse. I don't go, runs fast, jumps things, eats grass. You're like, what runs fast? What jumps? What is, eating grass? If I say, well, it has 4 legs, that doesn't help you. A lot of things have 4 legs: eat grass, run fast, jump. Right? I say, okay, it has hair. Well, that still doesn't help you. If I tell you it has 2 eyes, still you would not know it's a horse until I tell you it's a horse. Could be a goat.
It's amazing how confident people are in their conversations. When they talk about people without religion, people always know they do.
Oh, yes.
It's like, it's funny. Now that I'm an atheist, I'm actually more of a doubt. I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot of jack shit. But anyway, I sound like I could dissect the Bible, but really I don't. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. It's like I can't claim it. But people claim it. They know. It's like I just it's amazing. Like even people who don't go to church, just people in general. They always have an opinion, and it's like they have it. They feel so confident, and it's like, look at the world, man. How are you confident? And there's a lot of perspective out there.
Well, a lot of times their confidence though is built in ignorance. It's easy to be confident if you only have to choose from 1 to 2 things. But all of a sudden you realize, well, that was a fake choice. Because the world never was that 1 or 2 things.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Even when I talk about stuff, I always try to be careful with realizing that I'm human and I don't know everything too, There's a lot of things I don't know, and I'm always open-minded. I try to be open-minded to somebody points something to me, and I see that I didn't see that, or I made an error. I try to be honest and say, good point. I didn't see that. It's thanks for pointing that out. And instead of trying to defend it, it's even though I know it's wrong or whatever, it doesn't happen very often when it comes to that kind of stuff. But theists don't usually have any good answers. They just could never do. In fact, there's really a part of me that feels a little bad for them.
I feel bad from the fact that when they try to take, one of us on that are knowledgeable, that they're going to be, rudely awakened. But I know that rude awakening is something good. It's like a drug addict that thinks that they have to get that next fix. You don't understand. I feel like they almost.
Do you feel like they're being influenced though?
What's that now?
Do you feel like they have been challenged? I always feel like they just don't. They just walk away.
No, they haven't been challenged. But even if they are, once again, to me, when they're challenged, it's like us trying to challenge a drug addict. We need to tell him that drug, because we can't lie and say that drug doesn't make them high. We can't lie and say that drug isn't gonna, make them go into oblivion and forget their problems. But what we can do is focus on the fact of what the drug is doing. We can focus on the stuff. So you could say, well, I know one thing that's really interesting is to me, because I have religious family, is how just me changing my belief really hurt my relationship with the rest of my family. Because they're all devout believers, and it also is hard because they're real active. Like there's people that are pastors, and there's people that are assistant pastors, and my mom and dad are in Celebrate Recovery. It's a Christian thing. I don't know if you know of it, but anyways, so they flew to Prague to go speak. Then you have Damien, which they go, "What are you doing, Damien?" I'm doing atheist stuff. Because what else am I going to talk about? Just like them. And I don't expect them not to talk about going to Prague and being their thing. But we have like a I don't know, like a quiet truce kind of, because we kind of try not to push and explain totally what we're doing. But it makes the most awkward conversation when you try to talk to someone, but you really can't tell them anything you're doing, and everything you do tell them you're doing and you're excited about, they don't give a flippin' hell about. And that would be both of us, really, because hearing her go to some religious conference, I went to saw Israel with a church, and I'm like, okay, I'd have gone to Turkey and gone to archaeological place of the first temple for religion in the world. I'd have rather done that, but
I have it could be a or weakness depending on how I use it, but like I have the ability to sympathize with people. Like when I'm talking to people who are still believers, I can go in their mind. Like I can totally put myself in their shoes and like talk. Oh yeah, it's interesting that Jesus said that, as if like I go with their level and talk as if I am a believer again, but just to make common ground. But sometimes, like for me personally, I could be probably one of my weaknesses is maybe something to work on. So maybe is to not. Sometimes I think I could go for like a little more of a punch, and I back off because I'm just too nice almost. It's like, oh, I have him in the corner, and then it's like, yeah, I'll let you go. But yeah, so that's probably something to work. Well, that's it. I don't know. It's a strength too, right? Just I just need to find a way that, like me, it was hard for me to. Even with my brother, I just started working with him. When we first started talking about religion again, I was so full of anxiety talking to him about it. I couldn't do it. I was like, but I almost feel kind of bad saying it, and then and he's more of an alpha male, and I'm more easygoing and relaxing. Different personalities, right? He's more aggressive, and I'm not. But since then, I've relaxed more. And I generally don't bring it up unless he brings it up, and if he brings it up, if he brings a point, I'll give him 1 point back. I know I could give him like 10 more, but I don't do it. It's like just trying to be, you're planting seeds of doubt, but I just don't want to throw in his face completely. But if he did that to me, that's why he's a little bit quieter these days, I think. But he's backed off a little bit. But he says he enjoys our conversation, so that's good.
Well, and like I said, to me, that's why I think it's so funny how many atheists get so offended that I ask the what is a God question. Like they want to protect all believers from experiencing like the dread of being asked what they're talking about. But what's funny is I almost never have that much problem with the believers because they want to talk about their God. So they're generally, and they don't see it, you know what I'm saying? They don't see it as negative as I think atheists sometimes think that they perceive it as, but I haven't really experienced that.
I find that the most of my Christian friends don't talk to me at all. They just don't ask questions. It's like they don't say, I don't want to like jump to conclusions, so because I doubt that sometimes. Like,
you have to what now?
I think they see my stuff as a legitimate threat. And it's like maybe not. Maybe they just don't feel like it's worthy of their time because they just don't want to bother. There could be lots of different reasons why I'm not getting responses all the time. And honestly, when they do respond, I used to be, not so much anymore, but I used to be, it was hard on me. It was like, oh no, so-and-so responded to my status now. It made me, it was bringing anxiety in me. Like, oh, now I gotta deal with this. I've never been good at confrontation. So, it's like, oh no, I have to confront them.
but like I said, if you get the mentality like me, I don't win, so I don't lose. So I'm just trying to provide information. So if I don't know something, that's okay. If I don't convert this person, I wasn't trying to. I'm just providing information. They convert or not convert themselves. I mean, if they think that it's converting to me, all it is just slowing down and just accepting reality, not adding things to it. They see it like somehow they have, like this one person asked me, it was funny to me, but I mean now, but it was like about 2 weeks ago. He asked me, how do I like your stuff, but I've been reading it, but he hadn't been liking it. See, I have a lot of people that don't like my stuff and they read it and they tell me later, like years later, oh, I was changed by it. I didn't even know. But anyway, so he said, I want to convert to atheism. And I said, well, you don't convert to atheism. And he goes, well, how do you do it? And I said, you either do or you don't do it. There's no converting. do you feel in your heart like the conclusion of atheism is the most reasonable? If that's true, then you're an atheist. That's it. Now, if you want to do other things, I'm an axiological atheist, but that doesn't stop me being an atheist. Just means that I also add value theory to it and how I think, interpret, and do my atheism. But the atheist part just took me going, I don't believe you anymore. I don't believe all those lies anymore. I don't believe this stuff that's being told. I see nothing, feel nothing. It contradicts. I'm done. So, I mean, so I was trying to help him understand. It's not some big hard thing. You're already there, guy. If you want to be there, you say that you want to do it, you must already understand that it's not true. Theism fails. That's atheism.
It's funny that some people still think you choose to be atheist. You don't choose to be atheist.
I know.
You see God or you don't not. If you believe in God, you believe in God.
Exactly. That's why I say to me, it's odd to say, like I know you said, and I've heard people say they don't want to know about the label. Well, whether you want to call yourself, you're still an atheist, whether you use the label or not, because it's actually a state of affairs. It's a state of your position on belief in theism. And to me, like some people, I try to break it down in my own way, because I don't really agree with Dawkins' scale, because to me, we start at no belief. We don't start at belief and then become atheist. We actually, in reality, started at we didn't have any information, thus no belief. And then we eventually become in a belief. That's so I start mine from 1 to 10. 10 being the most extreme theism, not the most extreme atheism. Because, so, because also to me, I feel like it's important too, because to me, people on that Dawkins scale, some people, like I would be considered a 7. I have no problem with that at all. But there's people that will say they're an 8, a 9, a 10, 11, 12, because they think that somehow if they add a higher number that they're more an atheist. No, the person that's a 1 is. It's not like some kind of a cumulative scale. I know that how people sometimes view those scales too are like somehow when you're higher, you're a better or something. Once again, I agree with you. It's not better. It's simply it's like you said. It's simply stating what you feel you understand, or what you feel you know, or think, or believe. It's your explaining. There can't be more. I mean, so to me, I like people obviously that think like me, because it's easier to talk with people when I explain about my positions on the lack of faith and the warrant of disbelief. To some people, it's so I like having some friends that are, but I have plenty of friends that are not. And I don't feel that there's anything wrong with them being that. I mean, that's just how you feel. The same with me. I mean, it's a psychological state. So I don't feel like it's a better than. What I try to do is explain why I don't see that, or what I do see is reasonable. And so,
I like that. I don't feel like I'm any better than atheists, or I don't even believe in that. And I see people that I think are better writers.
Yeah.
I don't see that because I'm a bad writer and I can get better and I'm so good, so I'm just not very good. I see that as they have more experience than I do. They've written a few more things than I have, and I can learn from that. I don't look at that like I'm a better atheist, or the only ingenious atheist. I used to put a label on me, right? And I'd label ingenious atheist at the bottom, and I stopped doing that because in my mind I thought people are going to think I'm calling myself ingenious atheist. I don't want that, because I want to make sure it's a collective group is ingenious atheist. It's not one person, right? So like I want to make sure. I thought people could misunderstand that. They see, this guy thinks he's a genius.
But so do you feel that people in the group are not ingenious atheists?
Oh no, where I was as a whole, I'm just saying, individually you can be too. I just didn't want people to think that I was labeling myself that. I guess there's nothing wrong with that either, though.
There isn't. Who's to judge you, anyways? And like I was saying, everyone will feel if they're out in the public, everyone will get this, not just you, me, and everybody, right? No matter what you look like, it could be a model, right? Everyone in the doors still gonna get hate mail, still.
That's true, yeah.
So I mean, I thought I was saying before.
You can get hate mail means you're doing something right.
No, but I'm saying lack of I post stuff all the time, and I work sometimes like 24 hours on things, or I do tons of research. And I put it out there and I get 1 or 2 likes. You know what I do? Nothing. I just do the same thing again. I just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I try to get it out there because to me, it doesn't matter. If I know it's right 10 years from now, it'll still be right. And I don't see that my accepting of how quality I do is only positioned on other people's liking it.
Yeah. I understand.
So I'm trying to encourage you that don't feel that just because, like I had one person who actually blocked me. I have my group, right? I have my group HARP, which is humanism, rationalism, atheism, philosophy. I have my group. It's like about 4,000 people. Anyways, this one guy, and I let people post in there, whatever. As long as it's not theism and it's not about bigotry, I'm pretty much supporting about whatever can be in that group because I wanted about knowledge and learning, especially. Anyways, but he posts something in there and I didn't like it or read it. Well, it's 4,000 people. I mean, it's not my job to like every single post that's posted.
I know, I agree with that, sure.
I'm not saying that I don't try to, like post it or post it, but I mean, dude, it's not my job. I got other things I'm doing.
To be honest, I know there are people who say like they like something because they actually.
Yeah, right. Right.
If I just started the page, I didn't want to just invite everybody to like our page because I just started the page.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me get going here a bit, and then maybe start doing that.
Well, but see, and let me tell you why I liked your page because I think that you're a quality person, and you know what? Yeah. You don't have to prove that with the quality content on the page. I already know that I like the way you are. What I would like is you to be more often in a more out way. Because I think that you have a unique style. And I think that I would like to try to promote it as I feel like to everybody. I told you, I feel we rise by helping each other. And that's not just a statement. I try to live that. I feel like you have quality stuff. You should be promoted. It's
that way too.
Well, good.
Yeah, like there's definitely certain people have certain talents that it's just like this guy knows this really well and like he's good at it. He needs to be promoted for sure. You can feel that. You can sense that definitely. Yeah, I'm like that too. Sometimes like with certain people I already know who they are.
Yeah.
So I will like their stuff. Even if like checking too much detail. So because I know their stuff already. But in general, if a person doesn't know me, I'd rather them like my stuff.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, no.
Because they actually, only because they actually do like our stuff, not because the people ask me to like their stuff all the time. I generally do give them support, but I'll check it out though and see if I actually do like it or not.
Oh, well.
Most of the time, sometimes it's like, page is not really my style or whatever, but.
Well, I've told people that I've left groups because I don't care. Like someone put me in flat earthers. I tried talking to those people a couple times, and I go, yeah, this is not where I want to put my energy. I wrote one blog on it, but I mean, go ahead.
When I first started doing Atheist, I didn't realize what I was doing. I didn't realize that I was putting people in groups. I thought I was going to be inviting them. And I misunderstood the actual thing. And they ended up in my group automatically. I hated that. Like, what? I didn't like that. Like, how that was whatever. So,
yeah.
I even said that. My first post was like, I didn't realize that you just plot people in groups. So that wasn't really my style.
Well, yeah, and I agree with that. Like in my group, it would probably be way bigger if I put people in all the time. I don't.
Yeah.
When I first started, I think I put my one that has 4,000. I think I put in like maybe 20 people or something like that. Just people I really, my friends, and all the rest is people asked to join. I didn't put anybody.
There's certain groups too, like ingenious atheists, I realize it's a group that wasn't meant to be huge. Like it will get bigger, but really I'm looking for the quality.
Yeah.
I've got less people who are like good quality and are contributing good stuff to it. They have a big group that's just like, just really, I don't know, just not really. Yeah, it's more specific. It wasn't just a social group. It was like let's put our creative minds together and come up with some stuff.
Yeah.
I hope that it becomes more active though.
Well, I was going to say that one guy that's telling that people they should be liked or whatever, he welcoming people to your page or your group. Yeah. That's a good way to get things moving.
I know, it's awesome. Peter's doing a good job of that, and he started that too. It was a great idea.
Well, I'm just saying that people like that, and you get people active in your group. I don't do stuff like that because I'm kind of like not real. I'm not as friendly. I should be more. But I mean, to be honest, I'm just not that friendly. I don't know.
You put stuff out there, and like if somebody will read it, if they like it, they like it. It's like
I put some. I'll comment if people respond to my stuff, and I do comment and like other people's stuff if I like it. But I'm just saying I wouldn't think of doing the hey, welcome someone to the group, and because that's not me. but I'm just it's effective though. It's
I've been trying this. Actually, I think Dawkins said one time it's hard to motivate atheists to do things, and he's right. Because I want to see more. I'd like to see that former Hindus and former Muslims who are talk more and teach us about their religion, teach us about their experiences and stuff. I want to see that in that group. I've been trying to promote it and it hasn't come out. But it's one of those things that when it does. I hope it does.
Well, this is certainly some way.
In the past, bringing that to this trying to be an actual leader. I haven't been as much lately, but I try to adapt some of that into the group.
Well, you're doing.
I'm an atheist leader now, so yeah. Whenever somebody posts something, I try to be personal about it. Like, it should be specific, I like it or not, or try to be a leader that way. So, I wanted the group to be different, and I knew it wasn't going to be this. Actually, I think in my mind I told me to be bigger, but it was like. I realized it can't be that way. The way I designed the group, it's not. It's supposed to be small. It's going to be probably smaller for the most part because most people wouldn't be necessarily. That wouldn't be their thing, right? Everybody's interested in fighting religious stuff.
No, there's a lot of groups that fight religions. So I was going to say is that like in axiology, it's about getting them to see the value. Everything always hinges on value. If you understand, in other words, if I say I have a car out here and I just bought it for $5, if it's a car that's only worth $100, you wouldn't think that was that big of a deal because it's pretty much junk, But if it actually was a $500,000 car and I bought it for $5, the value makes a big difference.
Do you see value? You mean purpose and meaning?
Huh?
Do you mean purpose and meaning with the value?
Well, when I use value, it has multiple meanings. Value is worth, is benefit. Value is quality. Value is accuracy. Value. Yeah. Because if I tell you this article is valuable, what I really mean is it has some accuracy, right? Because if it's full of nonsense and lies, even if it's a big article and was fun to read, that if you wanted truth, that would not be valuable for truth. Yeah. So value, it also is morality. Axiologists, we understand morality because morality hinges from first a value you have. You have a value, can even be that you have a moral system because of value, but then how you even implement is dependent on its value. You value-wise in other words, how you would interact morally with a child has a different moral weight, moral value than how you would deal with a grown adult.
Yeah, for sure.
So, or should, if you're moral. There should be a difference. So once again, it's understanding the value is there's a different valuation. in other words. So to me, if I know axiology is the science of value, and so it's looking at the intrinsic value, the value inside of the thing itself. It's extrinsic for me would be like what it does, in relation to itself, and then systemic, what it does through time, or what it does outside of just the direct influence of self. In other words, like my influence of you, let's say. My thing is I'm an axiologist. What I've been imparting through this entire time we've been talking is to instill the quality of value in the person listening of who you are and of who I am, and I'm trying to inspire you to see the quality that you possess and that you can then give value to others. So it's a lot of value for me, and when you understand the tapestry or the web or the connectedness of value with things, you can start to utilize value with a higher form of accuracy, like what I try to do. And then you can also strategically, in a sense, methodologically, which means like in a systematic process, I can get a result because I know the process to get value. I know if I want to instill value. So like the ingenious atheist, if you instill the value of what the quality of what that means, when you understand, like you said, meaning, well, yes, but meaning is the understanding first. First you have to understand the quality of what it is, because if you don't understand what it is, the ontology, understand what it is, the what, and then you have to understand, how you know the what is accurate, right, or how you know what it is, the epistemology. Then the axiology then evaluates all that information and decides if it actually is worth believing, or worth supporting, or worth believing in, or worth being inspired by. So like my words are, if I say things that are untrue and inaccurate, they wouldn't have very much value to your actual application of life. But if I can give you, but see, like I said, I'm trying to explain critical thinking, how to break down thinking, how to process thinking. But it's not just an abstract, like oh, Damien just enjoys breaking down the world. No, I do it because I can then get people to see value in a different way, because we're too quick. We look and we go, oh, all those cars in the parking lot must all cost the same. They all look close to the same from a distance. Well, yeah, from a distance, walk up close and try to say every car is the same in a parking lot. They're not. You quickly realize that was an inaccuracy. So it is important that we too often allow them and us, like if you actually were given some sort of a presentation with a lot of accuracy about beliefs, you'd have a hard time believing them. Because but we don't. We get there's a God. You just have to just accept him into a heart, Well, what are you accepting? What are you doing? And what being do you have that loves you supposedly, but never shows up to make you understand that love? That's not a loving being if there is a God.
Yeah. I know, it's like, I was going to say, have you ever had a situation where you're talking to somebody and it's just like what you're saying is over there, and you have like kind of...
Oh, daily.
You know what I mean? Like, because I noticed with you have a specific where you got big words. Mm-hmm. And like, I think some people, they just wouldn't like, be like, what's that guy talking about? But other people would be important for them.
Yeah, and I could use a lot of words that people don't know. I try not to. If you read my stuff, I do use some big words, but I use the same ones, and I keep using them and keep using them and keep using them and keep using them. And I tell you and explain like 5 or 10 or 15 different ways. Like the vlog I just did recently, where I talk about how to debate. Where my style is what I call it truth navigation. That's what we're gonna do together, you and me. We're gonna navigate what's the truth. That's what I don't debate. We're going to navigate the truth. I'm going to keep asking you questions, and I'm going to demand evidence. I'm going to demand reason. We're going to navigate. And it's not an attack. I'm not attacking you. I'm not trying to win.
We're learning together.
That's what I said. To me, fellow learners.
Debate, the whole debate thing is a negative term. That's it. We're just going to debate. when you yell back and forth.
Right.
You know,
Well, because the people always tell me debate is not very constructive often, and I go, well, good, because I don't debate.
yeah.
I do truth navigation. That's really what
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing, because if you really had the truth, if there was an actual God, I want to know.
Yeah, I would too.
I want to know. So to me, that's where I know there isn't, but if you can show me, I'm ready to change my opinion on that on a dime, if it's warranted, if it's justified, if you can support it. The problem is it is not warranted nor justified, and you can't really support it. You can support what you think, but it is empty claims of nothingness.
It was shown that the Christian God was real. I still don't know if I feel servant.
Oh no, that's a separate issue. So atheism.
Is that?
I said that's a separate issue. Atheism is the belief or the non-belief, right? That's what it addresses. What I'm talking about. It is a non-belief, but I'm saying it is addressing the belief status. It's not the worship status. That's a different thing. I'm an anti-theist. I won't worship a God no matter if the one is real. It's a separate issue for me. Huh?
The whole idea of worshiping anything is stupid to me. I don't know.
Well, and I certainly would not worship anything not deserving. And anything that tells me I don't have rights is immediately not deserving.
Yeah, exactly.
So by default, if you tell me, I always tell people, immediately when you tell me your God has a hell, your God is not moral. That's not worth following. Thus, I already know I don't like your God. If it was real. Because to me, the act of creating, see, now, does there have to be a hell? No. So a God intended there to be one. Thus, that being is immoral. The act of creating a hell is an immoral act. So to me, I'm already not liking. I have a couple blogs about hell.
God doesn't exist, in my opinion.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you. That's why I said
technically it's not, but it's it is and it is at the same time.
Well, because once again, I'm not a skeptic. I'm a rationalist. So to me, the difference is this. The biggest difference between a skeptic and a rationalist. So skeptics often appeal to empiricism or evidencism, like show me or else it doesn't exist. What they don't get is then there is no God, because the default would be that you do not accept things not in evidence. So to me, if you say you're that and you're empiricist, then actually you should be defaulting that there is nothing, so there is nothing to believe, period. So to me, but a lot of people say they're agnostic atheists. Why I say I am an agnostic atheist. I do not even accept that the term God is even unambiguous enough for me to even care to try to debunk it, because it's never even, the substance itself is no substance. Then the justification of why this non-substance thing is supposedly exist is not even, you could not know it. Like if you claim to know it by what? Revelation? How could you possibly justify that? Revelation. And even if you could say that you do, let's just say you get a revelation. Well, your revelation doesn't match every other Christian's claim, every other religion's claim. You immediately start having, so you can't really justify that revelation is an accurate form of understanding anything.
Yeah.
So
that person at that point.
But you see, right? But you see what I'm saying. So for me, we start with that you don't have a concept to doubt. Then you don't have a justification that's accurate. Then on top of that, then the belief, you are believing things not in evidence, and that we already showed you not in reason. So your thing lacks both reason and evidence. Why would I even entertain it? So that's why I'm an agnostic. What you are talking about is so ludicrous. It doesn't deserve, present something that even begins to. I always tell people, show me simple magic before you demand that I accept supreme magic. Because God would be a supreme magic. Well, show me even simple magic, evidence anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Well,
It's
into space.
Well, the truth is there isn't any. So there's no evidence of even simple magic. There's no reason to assume great magic. You see what I'm saying? For me, it's just the whole process is just illogic on top of. So to me, the only thing they can offer is a hypothetical. But see, I do not have to actually take any hypothetical serious unless it has warrant. And guess what? Theirs doesn't, because they immediately start going, well, outside of reality, whoa. Nope, you don't get to do that. You could start here. Anything, even if there was supposedly something outside, when it interacted in reality, it would have evidence in reality. I mean, we can look at dinosaur bones, we can look at meteors that hit the Earth and stuff. Yet there's no evidence of any magical thing that could even be included to, like I said, even simple magic. Forget gods. Simple magic. Show me some simple magic. Anything. Nothing. Like you said, show me water to wine. Show me you cannot. It's all charlatanism and no evidence. So I'm just...
mindset in a lot of my writings, I mentioned that we're on the good side. Like, this isn't, like, I know people think atheism is a negative thing. We're going some positive here. There's no hell. That's a big thing. Like, why would you want to believe in heaven if there's a hell? Like, see, in my case, it's hard because I have a lot of Seventh-day Adventist Christians on my wall.
Yeah.
I don't believe in eternal hell. But I still talk about eternal hell a lot. So, but as far as like the other, I don't know. I just don't.
So maybe then right there, what you should do is not do that. Because I mean, I don't go on and on about talking about hell, because to me, whether it's momentary or at all, the fact that you're judged for a non-crime already is a violation of ethics. It's a non-crime.
I actually do talk about that too sometimes. I don't believe in their idea of hell, though. They believe in a resurrection where you get judged and thrown in like a fireman. That's it. They're dead. The whole idea is still bad and like evil. You get judged. Well, why should the person be judged in that? They just look like our lives are hard as they are. Like living this life and surviving and like trying to get by day by day. All of a sudden you wake up, you're dead. I mean, who knows how you died? And all of a sudden God's in front of you and you're judged. It's like, it'd be like if you're a father of so many kids and you had the ability to live up to a certain age. And at that age, that's when you start, okay, well, judgment begins. Like, that'd be cool. Like, I don't know. So anyways, the view of hell's better, but it's still not. It's still evil. You bring that up quite a bit, actually.
Yeah,
sometimes when I'm talking, I try to talk so that talking to them as well. I'll mention the judgment day. That's also wrong. Like, I won't say Adventist or that, but I'll throw it in there. Like, whole idea of eternal hell, judgment day, lake of fire, it's all bad. So if I include them in as well.
So have you thought about, because you said it would be important if we had Muslims to talk out. Well, it would be important if we had someone who was a Seventh-day Adventist to talk out. Because see, there's what I'm trying to say is that you're someone with a unique Christian experience, right? Yours is not the normal. I don't know anything. I know a lot about stuff, and I don't really... I don't have a blog, I think, that actually addresses Seventh-day Adventists. I do have for Jehovah's Witness. I have for a whole bunch of different things. But I'm just saying, so maybe, all I'm trying to say is I think you have a lot of quality, and I think that you don't need to look somewhere else, is what I'm trying to say is. Well, you get what I'm saying? That you have a unique experience. Who better than you to talk about Seventh-day Adventists? Maybe you should explain their beliefs, break them down why they're not true. Maybe you'll help someone who is Seventh-day Adventist that feels like all other atheists are not talking to them. They've been waiting for, Mark Lee to do it.
Well, actually, there are certain doctrines, they're definitely troublesome and they don't make sense. And that's reasons why I left the church. Because when I first left the church, in 2000, I didn't even know about the grave law in Deuteronomy. I'd never heard of that. I didn't hear about that until late years later. I knew more about the contradictions in the Bible scriptures. Although I do learn things as I go. I have one, I'm going to bring up a verse that's common in their theology about how to study the Bible. And so you take here and there. There's a verse, I can't remember, I say Numbers or Judges or something. I looked at the original context of it, and it was totally off context. God was talking about priests who were drunk. And this is how they teach. Like here, there, a little there. And I realized that all these years they've been taken out of context. It happens all the time. It's funny. People still believe Lucifer's the devil. It's like, Lucifer is king of Babylon. According to the scripture. Like
do you have a blog?
What's that?
Do you have a blog?
Oh, yeah, that page is going to be my blog, but I haven't, I do blog on my Facebook page, and I got folders for it. I'm just going to know.
I was going to say, if you write a thing on Seventh-day Adventist, even if it's just, some of your story, and some of your insights, I'll let you do a guest thing on my blog, and I'll post it all over the place. And my thing already has 15,000 or more people that follow my blog. So you would have... it's kind of good to have people from different backgrounds that can provide the dirt on every religion. Well, I was just trying to show you that you actually have the unique experience that you said that we need from other people. That's all I was reminding you, is that you are one of those unique people.
Yeah, especially I totally get what you're saying, Like the whole idea of because they brag about the fact they don't believe in eternal hellfire. And it is a big difference.
I didn't know that there was a difference. I didn't know that.
There's actually a lot of Christians who don't know that. Like Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in eternal hellfire either. So with one of the Church of God Philadelphians.
But see, right there, that's something that you can put in the blog. Yeah. Put in the blog that there's they're not the only ones. So I've never even heard of someone say that. So.
Well, then they believe. Actually, to be honest, I don't know what Jehovah's Witnesses exactly believe. I have a friend who's Jehovah's Witness, but
that's something you could research, and put it in a blog. I'm just saying, trying to get you to understand that your experience, in a sense, is valuable. It has value, and I've never heard that. I didn't know that they didn't think of an eternal hell. I didn't. I thought that all Christians thought there was eternal hell. So or something close to it. So, that's good. So you should definitely talk about it. I'm just saying, if you write up a thing, I will put you as a guest on my blog.
Okay, cool. Well, I actually got some good ideas for blogs right now, and I'm putting them together, but I'm trying to perfect. I obviously got to perfect them a little bit, but they're half written right now, but they're really important to me. One is with the aspect of creating an image of hell that's different, like eternal drowning, eternal freezing. It's connected, right? But then the whole thing is reasons why I don't believe in hell. I talk about that, and then also about the whole how the real true sacrifice could have been humanity sacrificing itself at the beginning, as would have been greater than Jesus' sacrifice, because then nobody would have suffered.
Right.
That's kind of the angle on that right now.
No, I think that stuff sounds great.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's their thing, Mark. Just do. Yeah. Just do. You know what? You're always going to find that you could have done it better. I make spelling mistakes. I go back, I read it again, try to fix it. But you know what? Just get it out there, man. Get it out. How many times people told me, oh, man, you can't spell. You shouldn't be, but oh, well. I got thousands now. People following me. Oh, well. I just keep doing my stuff. I try to do the best I can, but just get it out there. I'm just saying to you, don't feel like...
Statuses too, because some people, because I get it, you see a big article and you don't want to read the whole thing, and you still have the time for it. But I put pieces of that article into statuses, and then they might read it. So I do that.
I do this. That's the same thing I do. I take a blog that has probably 15 pages, and then I post it, and then I post it, but it doesn't get that many likes. I take pieces out of it and just put it all over the place, and then they can, people can like it or understand. And some people never really like the blog. Some people only like my memes. Some people only like, my writing. Some people only like my blogs. Some people like the videos. Everyone's different. I just try to.
Everyone's different too, yeah. Using different people, it's all good.
So I'm just trying to, encourage you that don't feel like because people don't. If it's not perfect, so what? Then do another one. This is a good thing is that we're atheists. It don't have to be perfect. I'm not saying it's inalienable. It's the best of my ability.
I tend to repeat, that's kind of a Christian, back when I was talking to a pastor, repeat things because it drives it home, right? I I couldn't do that sometimes. Like, I'll give one topic and I'll give you a theme for a week. I don't do it purposely. It just happens naturally.
That's good, though.
I'm actually proud of it. The way you work out. It's good.
You should be proud. So I wanted to just about wrap it up. So do you have any after all this talk? Have you or from before? I mean, what are your goals from now to what you finally feel is where you want to be? What is it you would like to do?
I'd like to be more I'd like to get a little more personal with people, become more connected in a real way, instead of just we're just exchanging ideas. That's it. I actually want to become people's friends in a sense. But even when I'm talking to theists, I want to develop more of that understanding where they're coming from, and being more passionate about it, and understanding who they are as people, and not being so. I'm gonna go get them.
Well, if you read my blog I told you about the one that's the truth navigation. It talks about debating techniques. One of my techniques is dignity. That's one of the things I think is important, is promoting dignity, the dignity in the person and how we view and see them and the whole thing. So, yeah, what you're saying is right. But I think that we'll, it looks like your thing might have gone, so we'll go ahead and end the video. It was good talking to you.